Good evening, everybody. It is officially 9 o'clock p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time, and my friends, you're listening to the RantCast Podcast. I am your host, Josh, also known as The Strange Bus, and you can catch me occasionally streaming live on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheStrangeBus. I am joined by my other host here, that is Kurgan, also known as HeroQuest Fans, and you can join him at twitch.tv/HeroQuest Fans. That's twitch.tv/HeroQuest Fans. And I'm going to say that one more time, brother. You can find him at YouTube at SSC3, home of HeroQuest Fans. I'm going to bring him on here real quick. I can find my Discord. There we go. Go ahead, Kurgan. We're live.
RantCast.
And just before we begin here, real quick, I do have to let people know, as we do all the time on the streams, that the music is brought to you by Karl Casey at Whitebat Audio. If you'd like some of that music for your own projects, you can YouTube search him at Karl Casey or Whitebat Audio, or visit him at whitebataudio.com. If you'd like to donate, he does have a Bandcamp. That's karlcasey.bandcamp.com. And I'm doing just fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired of all this crap that's been going on in the games industry. Let me tell you.
I'm getting tired. Feeling tired.
Sick and tired.
Yeah. We got a couple things on the docket today. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with the HeroQuest Power Hour. We are episode 52. Yeah, we'll get started with the HeroQuest Power Hour, and then we will go ahead and kind of continue with our other topics. Let me take a look at what I've got on the docket. I'm bringing up my notes.
Yep.
My
Organized.
baby's up here real quick, but let me see what do you got here for me on the list here. The Jungles of Delthrak dice set. Are we talking about that this evening?
Yeah, we're talking about that monstrosity tonight.
Oh boy.
So
okay.
There's slim pickings. See, we had that huge news dump about First Light, and we were talking about that until we were exhausted, and then it was like, and nothing's happening. But then we got people saying, hey, those dice that were coming out December 1st, I got them. And here's the picture. So what you're looking at right now is the Hasbro Pulse website for the UK. And as you can see, it's sold out. So I was looking at this and I was like, those jerks. I knew this was going to happen. They, come out with these limited edition dice and they get sold out right away. But then Sikash Shem pointed out, they're in stock. Like, he's like, what do you, and I'm like, huh? And then so I looked and I realized, oh, in the upper right corner, you change it from United Kingdom to US. And I think the site will break. So I've actually shared the other links with you. But so the Europeans got the Jungles of Delthrak dice early. They got it like way early, like a couple weeks ago. And that's because when they were getting it, it's just that tin that you see with the special dice inside. These are the same exact ones that they had at Gen Con. Not the ones they gave away for free, but the ones that they were selling with new copies of Jungles of Delthrak. I think they look cool, but they're kind of hard to read. The symbols are kind of hard to read across the table. In that picture, they look like they're green, but it's more of a dark red color, actually, the symbols.
Right.
And then you've got the swirls of like green ink inside. So it's kind of like a reverse color of the Dread Veil dice, which were purple. Well, anyway, so the Europeans just got the tin and the dice inside, so they got it early. And then for the U.S. orders, today was the day. Like, today was the day that it shipped out, so the 15th. And some people were getting notices like yesterday, I think, saying, oh, yeah, it's, your card is charged, here it comes. I didn't order them, but I guess I could because the pre-orders are over. And it's like, well, do I want these? I think it's kind of expensive, but
Kurgan, are these other links other pictures of the dice, or am I just referring to this link here?
You can click on the other link. It's not much to look at because they just have the two pictures. Those are what the dice actually look like. That's an actual photograph, whereas the other one's just a CGI mock-up.
Ooh,
Um,
don't miss out. It's FOMO, man. Don't miss out. But it says they're
yeah,
sold out.
yeah. Well, if you go to the US page, it should just say in stock order.
Is that the last one? The last one you sent me?
Yes, the third one. Yep.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
Bring her up right now.
So
Oh, in
19.99
stock for
pound.
$40.
Yep. Which is actually really, really close to what the guy at Gen Con was saying. So they had a guy behind the cash register. I don't remember his name. He had the Avalon Hell shirt on and everything. He was manning the cash register. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I think they'll be like $30 and they'll be available in about a month in retail." It's like, okay, well, September 5th came around, they weren't available, but I mean, here we are, October 15th, pretty close. Okay, not 30, but 40. And he did say they would come with a dice tray. It's like a tray, not a play mat, because the Dreadveil dice had like this. It was like this faux leather scroll, and you unroll the scroll, and it's just like a flat um, piece of like what would you call it, microfiber. So like you can roll your dice onto the surface, and they don't bounce off, across the table. Well, with this one, they called it a dice tray, and so people were looking at the FanRoll website. So FanRoll, oh, I should have sent you the link for that. FanRoll are the ones that Hasbro commissioned to make these. So they make fancy dice. Here, I'll send you the link. So people were looking at like their other work to try to imagine, okay, what do these things actually look like? Let's roll.
That's a
So
pretty
there's
neat pun you got there. Let's roll.
yeah. Know your role and shut your mouth.
Whoa. Whoa.
That, that's the rock. Yep.
All right, so what are we looking at here at FanRoll?
FanRoll. So this is just to give you an idea of what this company is like, what their products are like. So not sponsored. I'm just sharing the fact that uh, they have hired out this company to make these dice. So that's why they're like a limited thing. It's supposed to be, I call them the FOMO dice. This is like a luxury product. This is a deluxe thing. I mean, they're just
We have a
regular dice.
little advent
Just
calendar.
fancy.
That's nice. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
like window shopping over here.
yeah. Filling up your cart, making your list out to Santa.
Well, they have a
Yeah,
dice tray that's like UV. That would not be okay. I mean, it would be cool, but like
until
you have
you throw it too hard and you bust out the light with your metal dice that you
or
rolled.
you have grubby hands, and then they get to see what all you've touched.
Yeah,
Or
you see all the crap on your fingers.
oh, somebody's been messing around too much and touched their dice. I'm not touching those dice.
That's right. You don't touch another man's dice.
Touching another man's
Never
dice.
rub another man's rhubarb. Because I'm glad you're dead.
These are cool. These are some cool dice.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, at Gen Con, this was like par for the course. Like everywhere you look, people were selling like fancy dice, like crystal dice, metal dice, shiny dice, pearlescent dice. I mean, especially D&D players. It's like everybody's got to have their set of dice, and there's all these
Okay,
like superstitions to go around. You got to like, oh no, I got to
why
use
is the
these on
price
Tuesdays, these
difference?
on Wednesdays.
Why are they between $12 and $74 though?
I don't know. Like, is that if you buy like just one or the whole set? Because D&D dice, they give you what, the 4-sided, the 6-sided, the 8,
This just says
10, 12.
$75. I don't know why. What's $12? Is it just like you buy one
Are
or
these
you buy the whole set or what?
gold nuggets or something?
I don't know.
Hey, they accept
I'm.
Venmo.
They do.
Get 4 interest-free payments of $18.75. They have padded trays. Well, so anyway, yeah, if you're into this sort of thing, this is what they sell. But now you can get HeroQuest dice from them as well. Now, I personally I would be fine if they just sold more of the regular dice. Like, why does it have to be these specific ones? Like, why not white dice? But anyway, this is what they've got. So I'm sure they're testing the waters with this stuff, to see if people go for it, and if they do, they'll sell more of it. Oh yeah,
Neat.
Joe is definitely going with the material idea. Yeah, thanks,
That
Joe.
makes
No,
sense.
he says I never heard Doug say anything about a dice tray, but then in the end I didn't ask him. Well, yeah, this was not Doug. This was there was a okay. You remember there was they had like a cash register there. $74 they made with real match. Thanks,
Whoa.
Bohemian. And they're going fast.
You can crush them.
Yeah, you could smoke them. Yeah, please do not smoke these dice. Yeah. No, there was a guy behind the cash register, so you could actually at the Avalon Hill booth, you could just like take a copy of Jungles of Delthrak off the shelf and like ring it up right there. And people were asking him questions. And I don't remember if I asked him directly or if it was Ribby or one of you guys, but I was I was there present when he said it. When he said, "Oh yeah, in about a month it'll be like $30." I think probably maybe, something along those lines. So,
Okay.
but I mean,
All right.
but I held off because I could have bought a copy of Jungles of Delthrak and walked away with the 10 of these. But since I already had bought it, like it had been out, that expansion had been out for a while, I was like, oh, there's no point.
Oh, you have
And
some
as
self-control,
usual,
man. I would have just bought it then and there. Come on, man.
well, I was buying so much other stuff, like because people had asked me, oh, I want you to buy this thing and I'll pay you back. And it's like, okay, I did that. And I bought gifts for people and like I did all this stuff and it was just like, oh, and on top of that I could, pile up another box. I guess I could have. But yeah, I was thinking, okay, well, if what he's saying is accurate, then I can just wait. And I got to see him in person. I thought, well, I mean, they don't seem that great, to be honest. I mean, the coolest thing about them is the presentation. Like you got the shiny tin with the cover art on it, and it's in there padded. It's like something cool, uh, like your room that you've got. You know how you've got all that stuff set up. You've got your game boxes, you've got your swords and your whiskey bottles. Like you've got all that stuff. Like it's a presentation. Like that's to me that's more what it seems like it's for than just I'm gonna bust these out and like use them every game. Like it's a pain to like pull them out of the tin because they're like in there really really tight. Which I guess is what you want. You don't want it falling out, but it's not. It's not like a casual thing. It's much more of a big deal.
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm surprised they didn't just have like a mock-up, like a CGI mock-up of the dice tray, because how hard would it be to just throw something up there? So I'm thinking, okay, it must not be done yet. It must be something really, really special, but we'll probably find out within a few hours. Like at midnight, somebody will post a picture saying, "Hey, this is what it looks like."
Indeed. No, I can understand that. And these dice look pretty cool. I like them. They look they look nice.
And
The
I
green
I'm
mist.
not a yeah. It's got the little like squirt of like swamp juice into it or whatever. Well, and I'm sure, yeah, somebody who has more knowledge of this stuff can tell, you know, what these dice are usually made of. I think these are acrylic. I think that's what they are because they're transparent. Like you can hold them up, the light shines through them. But I mean, yeah, it looks like two squirts of ink and like some like glittery material inside, and then you got it's just on the outside it's just painted, in those like the images are inscribed, and then you got the paint. But it's like, why did they choose a dark red? I mean, it's when you roll it on the table. I mean, at Gen Con, I've said this before. When they did the purple dice, it's like the guy would roll them, and you're like leaning over the table to say, okay, what did you actually roll? It's kind of hard to see. So maybe it's just because I'm an old man. I got old man eyes, but the white dice with the black, much easier to see. It's high contrast. So maybe if they'd used like white or maybe even like a chrome silver or something, it would have been much easier.
Like for the icons, like for like the skull
Yeah,
and
the icon.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
here it's fine.
They look okay. It seems like they look okay.
Now there is another way to look at this. So they're giving you a dice tray. If we imagine it's probably a, I don't know, 6-8 inch square tray, made out of some sort of soft material. You could put that in the center of the board, like when it's time to roll, and just roll your dice like in front of everybody. Maybe that's the idea. So like everybody can see it, rather than the way we play, which is like, I'm sitting here at one end of the table, you're sitting at the other, and I just roll the dice in front of me. Like I'm eating dinner, I'm just rolling in front of me, and you're like, what did you roll? Can't see it. So you
Right.
could have a way around it. But I mean, in the convention hall, like in the exhibit hall, they had the lights were like super bright, like turned up way high, like you're at a makeup counter or something. And so you could, like, even then it was kind of hard to see like what people had rolled. And the tables they were using had like red paper on them, so it was like a bright red background and then these green dice on top, and it was still tough. So I don't know. They probably chose these colors because it looked cool, red and green together, complementary colors.
Right. Oh, I can attest to that. I mean, like I said, the color, I don't know, maybe a darker color. It looks brown instead of black, but
Yeah. Yeah, because the giveaway dice that we called the Mountain Dew dice or the piss dice were like kind of a they were translucent, but it was kind of like a thick yellow, and the symbols were black. And it was a little hard, but I mean it was still easier to see than like what these are. So yeah, again, something that looks cool as opposed to functional. See, I'm more about functionality than yeah.
I
And Joe
mean,
can attest to what I'm saying.
I don't know. Like I said, they look good, and it I don't know. I could kind of understand where you're coming at, but like I said, I don't know if they're supposed to have that brown coloring, like originally they're supposed to be brown in the background. I can see where that could kind of be hard to see, but I don't know. I'm not quite at super bad eyesight quite yet. I've got one bad eye, but like I don't know. I could probably still see that. I don't know. We'll probably still see
Well,
that though.
and I
But
suppose with like
Joe
the
says they're hard to read. But
yeah,
to me this still looks like collector's dice more than like anything else. If you're somebody
right.
who's probably bought most of the HeroQuest set, you've got good dice
Yeah,
lying around. Now for
you've
somebody
got
who's
plenty.
like, this is my second set of dice, you're probably gonna have a problem. But I feel like this is kind of like one of those things where you I don't think this is gonna be like a do or die situation. But that why that's really the color. Why brown?
Well, it, I remember it being more of like a rusty, like a dark red, like blood, like dried blood. That's what it made
I
me
don't know.
think
It
of.
looks over in these pictures. It looks shit brown, bro.
So you got the
Why?
piss dice and the poop dice.
I mean, it's like
So you got
especially here, like just right here. I mean, I don't know. I could kind of see where you're saying like it looks like dried blood, but like you said, besides that, like I still test to it. They look dope, especially like these. Now, granted, you're gonna get like that shot of ink. It's gonna look different each time, but like look at those skulls, man. They got that like
yeah,
green
like
mist
there's
around. That this would be great Halloween dice, like great for
yeah,
like it'd be pretty good. So
yeah, they're a work of art for sure.
yeah, I definitely say they'd be worth. I don't know if they're like I said, man. I'm a penny pincher. I don't know if I'd pay $40, but like I don't know how much
Well,
dice usually run. Especially just going to FanRoll, they wanted $74 for dice. Dude, I have clear dice, right? Like blue, nice clear dice that I got at my local game store, and they were $25. So, but
dang,
I once again I'm dealing with people who have had much more experience than I have, right? Even when I was doing D&D stuff, I had a collector set of dice, and like the highest I've ever paid for dice is like maybe $30. So, I prices are different now, times are different now. There are people who have much more knowledge in material, like like Joe was saying. You've got your material, you've got the type of die, you've got how much dice you're getting with your stuff. It's a whole bunch of like factors playing in there. It'd be like me trying to break down, computer parts or something else to somebody. Like, I get it. So, I mean, I
I
just,
just
I don't know. Like,
I just shared another link with you, and if you have an Etsy account, you probably want to sign out of it first. But I was just going to show you
no,
what they're up against. Just so
on
we're not showing
Etsy.
your
Ew.
yeah Etsy. Did you mean to sign into Etsy? You did, didn't you? Shame, shame. Okay,
So what are we up against here? Hold on, let me bring this
we're
back
not.
up. I have my
I'm
notes
not
here.
specifically endorsing this. And if you'd said this in front of Doug, he'd be like, no, don't want to hear it. No, 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 no. There are fans and shall we say entrepreneurs out there selling their own custom HeroQuest dice.
Oh God,
They made
somebody's
out of
selling the
wood,
entire thing for $200.
plastic. Yeah. So if Hasbro through Avalon Hill through FanRoll is not selling them, other people are doing it already. So they're just looking to get a piece of that pie.
How many you get with these? Like, this is crazy. Look at all these. You know all this.
Yeah, you're not really getting that huge bucket of dice. Actually, some of these people, I won't say which ones, have given me free samples of. It's like, oh yeah, here's what we sell. I was like, wow, okay. So I mean, they make clear these are not the official HeroQuest dice. These are just inspired by, compatible with, whatever.
But they
But
look
some of them
good.
are
Yeah, they
pretty
look
darn
good.
good. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what, like I said, this is what like fans and indie sellers are making. So if they
Dollar
don't sell
twenty-five, dude.
themselves,
Those.
dollar
Wow.
25. Yeah, other people are putting them out. Yeah, some of these are just like
Wow.
3D print.
Look at
And
that.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I've clicked on it. I have done it bad.
yep,
Oh, look at that. That'd be awesome.
yeah. $40 for that one little LED. Oh, you get 10 of them. Okay, to be fair, that's not bad. Some of these 3D printed things are just absolutely absurd. It's like, oh, you want Cloud City? It's $5,000.
But yeah,
What?
but look at all those tiles he's got, man. Like, look at that
Yeah,
board. Like, you could have some real fun with that. That is some dope ass shit, man.
yeah, it is.
Wow. I was even just looking at this. I was like, look, he was showcasing the whole board. I was like, how do I get that? Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, because there's super fans out there. I do not recommend buying like 3D prints from this site. Just personal experience. I don't recommend it. But there are people selling STL files. Of course, some of these STL files you can get for free, and all you've done is paid somebody to print it for you. But I mean,
yeah,
resin, it looks really good, but it's kind of fragile for tabletop use. And I've had some bad experiences. Yes, Ribby. Ribby is yeah, weeks of printing on a single printer. Yeah,
yeah, I
so Ribby
bet.
himself is I don't know. Can I say what you're doing? I don't want to blow your cover there.
Well, I know one of my friends has a big 3D printer. He's like got one of those bigger ones, and like that would still be a lot of work on something
All the
like that.
Okay, so you guys may remember a while back I did a guest stream and we used a completely 3D printed board. It was like much larger size than the actual one, and it fit together with magnets. These really cool guys, Maitreya, Theodore, and Mercantile, they just sent it to me. I'm like, listen, if you want to, you can. I can't promise I'm going to give it a great review. It's just, um, if it's free, I'll take it. It's up to you. And they said, sure, we'll do it. And I was just like, wow, because it was this big, huge, heavy box, like not very portable. But when you snapped it all together, like a puzzle, it was amazing. And it's from the Dragon's Rest. So all those files exist. So yeah, if you're like Ribby, if you got a set up at home, you can print out like a full 3D board, all the doors, all the figures for the base HeroQuest set. Now it doesn't have furniture, but I mean other people have printed those out too. But even if you're not, so the one they sent me was not resin. It was, I think PLA is what it's called. I don't know all the terminology, but there's different types of plastic. But it's like it's got the striations on it. So if you look really closely, you can tell it's 3D printed. It's not injection
It
molded,
does have furniture. What the fuck, man? That's
but it
crazy.
but it does look. Oh, cool. Yeah, the guys that sent me the thing sent me everything but the furniture. I mean, I didn't need it. Hey, Rob Champ. Yeah, so yeah, all the stuff is there. If you wanted to, you could print a full HeroQuest set out yourself. Now, it would cost you, yeah, much more in terms of time, materials than if you just went online and found a beat up copy, and dusted it off or buy the new game. But yeah, there's lots of people selling stuff. So again,
Hey,
how does
here's your
stuff?
Ragnar figurine
Yep, yep.
and your
So
prisoner Ragnar figurine.
Yeah, see, these are all different than the official ones. So how does Avalon Hill feel about this? Well, they just try not to look at it. But I'm sure somebody at Hasbro is well aware these things exist. And yeah, if they start encroaching on their IP, they're gonna issue a cease and desist, shut it down. So most of these people are smart enough to differentiate their product, make it clear that, hey, this is not official, this is different than the real thing. But still, it's kind of like it shows you the demand is there, because I'm sure these people are selling stuff. So you got modular boards, you got different kinds of dice, you've got
Well,
little
and
counters, and
to be honest, some of this stuff is like some of this stuff is pretty
oh, but
affordable, but like nothing to be like a
some,
direct competitor. To be honest, like
I
some
mean,
of the
and
stuff
to
I would
be honest,
see it, but like you don't see. I
some,
don't think Avalon Hill right now is selling like a fuck ton of dice trays right now, or like it's
no.
like dice, but like you got dice trays, you've got like modular dungeon tiles, you've got all this extra
Yeah,
shit. So
that thing with the little dials and little cards. I mean, it seems like a great idea, and it probably works for that guy that made it, but that would never work for me. Like, I have way too many cards and tiles. Like that thing, I'd have to buy like 50 of them to make it, and then I wouldn't have any
this,
room at my table.
you're talking about
So,
this?
yeah, those little holders.
Oh, I mean, yeah, those are accessories, but I was more talking about like like a modular dungeon or like
Oh yeah.
like a dice box for traveling or
Oh
um
yeah.
hell
Yeah.
like a wooden dice holder or the 3D board, stuff like that. Like I said, like they're probably more like laying that stuff off because one, even if it does kind of approach on their IP, it's more likely the fact that I don't think now correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I don't think right
Niche
now they're
stuff.
doing anything with that right now. Like are
No,
they
they don't
though?
have their own. No, they don't have their own holder. I mean, at best, when you buy the expansion, it has the little candy trays where you put the miniatures in, and then there's maybe like just a box that you put everything. You just throw everything else into it.
Yeah, so I mean, I to me it doesn't look like it's doing anything. Like, and a lot of this
Like
is
a
very
supplement.
close to scratch
Yeah,
in the that sort of
scratching the itch.
surface. Yeah, but like I feel like some of these is blatant. It's pretty blatant, but like it's
Hmm.
I don't. This is shit you wouldn't get from Hasbro right now. So once if they were to like all of a sudden say, "Oh man, HeroQuest
Oh,
is booming.
go
It's
back.
selling like hotcakes. We need to get up there and start, selling accessories and stuff." Maybe they might start C&Ding these people, but
Scroll up a little bit. Yeah, we're going to be responsible for some of these people getting C and D. Yeah, if you look at some of these actually are the actual figures. But well, I guess the one you're highlighting right now, a guy just painted his own set. So for $600, he'll give you a fully painted set. So
I
$45
mean,
plus all the blood, sweat, and tears he
yeah, I was
painted
gonna
into
say
those. I mean, they look great.
that's a lot of like labor for a lot of labor and time. I mean, I don't know if that's $600 worth of labor and time, but that looks like it's well
Yeah.
done. So
Well, you can get a fully painted set of HeroScape, and it's only $50 more. But I'm sure they've got like assembly lines and stuff. You
yeah,
know,
I mean, I don't know. Like I said,
one
uh,
guy does the base coat on everything. One guy paints all the swords. One guy paints all the helmets. One guy
yeah.
does all the highlights.
So I mean, I don't know. I think this looks pretty cool. So I mean, if I had the money, probably.
It's
But
well,
you
yeah,
know,
and the
support
people can say this about
your local artists. People who spend
if
the
it's
time and
yeah, if it's worth it to you and you've got the cash to spare, sure, why not?
it looks like he's showcasing them. It doesn't look like he's not like he's hiding anything. So if this is what
Yeah,
you get, then he even puts like the little
even
skulls on the bottom. That's nice.
yeah, he went to the trouble of painting the little tile pieces and everything, because normally those are just the bases are just plain, flat. That he painted little cobblestones on them. But yeah, Ribby's right. The Dragon's Rest is the name of one of those pages, and the one that has the 3D modular board that he's making. So I'd love to see how it turns out, Ribby, when you do yours. But yes, you can do multi-level rooms. So what it's going to end up as, HeroQuest. Okay, you take the board out of the box, you unfold it, and there's your board. It's going to take you like an hour or more to set up, a modular board with all these pieces. But man, when you're done, that thing is going to look amazing. It's like you're playing in Minecraft or something instead of just a flat piece of cardboard. At least, yeah. Well, HeroScape is one of those games that takes a long time to set up. But the great thing about HeroScape is it's like you're playing with blocks. So if you're playing with a bunch of 8-year-olds, that's like phase one of the play is just setting it up, building this awesome like uh, terrain out of those tiles. And then phase two is actually playing the game with the figures and rolling the dice. Thought about permanently mounting the base level and just magnet the walls, says Ribby. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
so.
you tell me how that goes, Ribby.
Yeah. If I had that kind of space, yeah, if I had like a dedicated game space, I would love to do that. Oh, yeah, the Feldar foam. See that foam cut out? That gray foam? That was like one of the first things that they were selling. Like HeroQuest was barely out and people were selling like these forms, these gray forms that you would put inside the box so that you'd have a little cutout for like each piece. The problem is you had to buy one. I mean, if you were going to do it this way, you'd have to buy one for each new box that came out because as soon as a new thing comes out, oh, now I don't have room for it. You'd have to like cut it out. So then people were saying, well, you can use pick foam, where that's where you just buy and it's just a big block of gray foam and you pull out the little squares to create the cavities where you can put the different things. But those things are expensive, very expensive. They're like for cameras and stuff like that, sensitive electronic equipment. So I'm cheap. I would just get a piece of furniture foam and like get a electric carving knife and just like cut, whatever I thought would do it. Oh yeah, and I think Ribby, didn't you design these clips for the GM screen and somebody just blatantly stole it? So I think some of those. That's another thing about Etsy. Sometimes people's work just gets basically ripped off. I mean, you release something for free, and somebody else just decides, oh, I'll just slap my name on it and sell it for a
Yeah,
couple bucks.
but like this looks okay. Like I said, like it's selling a lot of like accessories. If you need accessories for your game kit, then go ahead for it. And
Yeah,
works.
it's helpful.
This dice
Yeah, you got
tower. This was in what was it? The that game we played. The
Battle
board
Master.
game. No, the board game simulator we played on the
Oh
computer.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tabletop Simulator.
yeah,
Right.
tabletop simulator. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could recreate Tabletop Simulator in the physical form. Part of me really hates dice towers. I feel like no, you got to roll it in your hands or roll it in a cup. But I get why people like them. Like if you get a nicely designed dice tower and you throw your dice through it, it has the same effect of, well, maybe you can identify with this, like a casino machine. It's like you put the quarter in, it makes a certain sound when it gives the payout, and it's coming out, it makes a certain sound, and it just kind of like gives you those tingles, I guess, those vibes. So people like that. And if there's ever any suggestion that, oh, you're cheating, you're holding your hand a certain way to get a certain outcome, it's like, oh no, I just dropped him in the dice tower, and that ensures the randomness.
You let fate decide.
We'll let fate decide.
Yeah.
Chance Cube. Yeah, why aren't they selling more of those? They probably sell them at Disney Park.
Hotcakes.
Yeah.
But
A
yeah,
really
this is
poorly
kind of
constructed
neat.
dice cube that has just two colors on it. It's like, why not flip a coin? It's like, but it was from the movie. Yeah. So anyway, this is what they're up against. There's a lot of competition. I mean, but like you say, not everybody's going to go for all those things. This is kind of a niche market. But yeah, if you're a hardcore HeroQuest player, they got you covered. Somebody's thought of it. Somebody's made it, and it's out there for $49.99. 3 easy payments.
$49.99.
They take Venmo.
They take what?
They take Venmo.
I totally misheard you for a minute.
But never mind. Bohemian says foam is only for people who paint the minis to high standard. Using it for unpainted plastic is a waste. I agree because the HeroQuest miniatures are extremely durable. Like they're bendy plastic. I mean, assuming you got a good set. I mean, when the HasLab sets were coming out, people were getting them with like skeletons that had missing heads and pieces were broken. But yeah, they're pretty resilient. This is not like D&D figures made of metal, where if they clang against each other inside the box, there's going to be damage every time. The paint's going to chip off. But yeah, the first candy trays that they were releasing, the figures were in there like super tight. Like you had to apply a lot of pressure to pull them out. And if those things were painted, yeah, they would probably be scratched and scuffed. But they've gotten to a point where it's pretty decent. You really don't need the foam for the most part. Now, if you've got 3D prints, they're probably more fragile. You might want the foam, but again, you got to like make sure that they're packed such a way that they're not going to be like too tight or brush up against each other. Yeah, I think even though the resin prints look better, because the PLA is more durable, I would prefer that. So I've vowed not to buy the resin prints anymore. I mean, if I had my own, I probably would print them until I decided that it was a waste of my time. But if you're going to paint them, I mean, the paint is going to cover a lot of those flaws from the printing process anyway, And to me, if it looks good at the table, that's what matters. Like, I'm not going to put it under the microscope and go, oh, there's a flaw. Oh, I missed a spot. Oh, it sucks. It's like at the table, it's going to look great. And you can have the whole presentation. And the whole thing about using magnets, I know people will do that. Like with Warhammer figures, you put the magnets in like the arms and the guns, you can stick them together. But I just thought, man, that's going to be a problem because then you've got all these magnets stuck together and they're expensive. Magnetized minis are even better for plastic minis and 3D printed. Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying, Bohemius, versus metal. See, I have one metal mini and I got it out of the package and I was trying to like imagine how I was going to put it together, but I haven't done anything with it. But I mean, people were telling me, oh, you got to use the special kind of glue and you got to like use pins to like hold it together. And I was like, oh man, maybe I'll save this for when I have a lot more time and I've done other things. Joe Coger says those things suck. They still haven't mastered the candy trays. My not so humble opinion. They're better, but they still have a definite click when they go into their spaces in the trays. Well, I don't have a problem with the click, but I think they had the right idea with the second game system, the one you've got, Strange Bus. You remember how you open up the box and you've got the tray holding the plastic, but then you've got a clear cover that like holds them in place so they don't have to be like tight. You just take the clear cover off, you take the stuff out, but everything has its place, everything goes back in.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Joe. I mean, they could be better, but like they do their job.
Yeah.
As like I'm not super rough with my set because I barely touch it right now. But like, I mean, if we started playing with it, like or like using it, I feel like it could. I mean, it could get pretty worn out pretty quick. I have a feeling with like I don't know, not consistency, but kind of like structural integrity over time. I feel, but I don't know about anything like.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any problem. So my box has gotten a lot of use, and the biggest stress factor on it is lifting the lid off the box and pushing it back down again because it like traps so much air when you're putting everything away. It's like over time because the box lid is just held together by paper. I mean, it's just like they fold the cardboard and then they just wrap the paper around it and glue it. So it starts to rip along the seams. So I've like repaired the seams of my box like a few times now. So anyway, but the new box was smaller, so it traps less air. The the miniatures have a different way that they're stored in there. I mean, we talked to Adam Glick briefly. I mean, he wasn't cleared for an interview, but later it was revealed, oh, he's one of their engineers. So he actually like redesigned the whole package so it'd be more convenient because that's what it's about. I mean, they want to keep the budget low. All right, well, they have a low budget, but I mean, they want to keep the cost down for each unit because they want HeroQuest to be accessible. Because yes, people have turned it into a hobby game, but it's supposed to be a board game for the masses. Like anybody should be able to afford this. It's an entry level, like everyman type game, as opposed to Warhammer, which yes, they try to get people into the hobby, but mostly it's like you're a hobby gamer. You know how to paint, you know how to sculpt, you know how to do all the stuff, and people like the fact that they have to do all this extra work, and
Isn't that
they
weird
love
though?
spending big
That
amounts of
like
money.
board games have become like kind of like a trophy type of hobby. Like it's like they're anywhere from $200 to $400. Like it's weird to me.
Yeah, it
Because
is. Well,
I'm like,
imagine.
yeah, like what was it? Trivial Pursuit used to be like $30.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when people say board games, that's what I used
Yeah,
to think of. And then
I
like
I do
now I'm
too.
like
I think of the family
like
game that
have
you grow up with. Yeah,
like
Trivial
yeah, have you played
Pursuit,
Warhammer? I was
Monopoly.
like, no. Like I don't play Warhammer. Like, oh yeah, you should totally get into it. It's fun, and you paint the miniatures, and like it becomes a great hobby. And then you got to look at your first set, and you're like, what the fucking price, man? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
that's that.
Like
That's
holy shit.
$200 worth of fun right there.
That's $200
Gonna-
worth of fun, and
That's
it's
gonna take
like,
me like 6 months to paint it, and then yeah, I'm gonna be playing it for a year.
but you know,
Yeah,
I can't really say anything either because it's like somebody who got me into the hobby of cigars. The first time they had it, was like, hey, you know, it was a really weird discussion because nobody ever just like talks to you about that at your age. Like,
you want
usually
to buy
people,
a cigar?
yeah, people get into like smoking in their younger days, and I picked that stuff up, but it's kind of a social interaction, but it becomes a expensive hobby, and then you start going out and collecting different cigars, or like same thing for me in bourbons. Like I became a bourbon guy. Like I don't do it all the time. It's something I go out and I pick up and I try, or I go to tastings, or stuff like that. So it's something that I'm, it's kind of like an artisanal thing. You go out, you have a little bit of fun, but that little bit of fun's like 80 to $150.
Well,
So
let me say this briefly. A couple of comments here. Well, and I was thinking about like chess sets. Like, there's a certain level of, I don't know, whatever, people expect certain things. So you got your people who will just buy a chess set, just basic chess set. That's all you need. It's about the gameplay. That's it. But then you also got people that are like, oh, I want a fancy chess set. So they're willing to spend money on a one that's like, yeah, non-standard. It's painted. It's got a nice marble board or something. Okay, whatever. But yeah, you don't imagine somebody buying a chess set and they've got like to assemble the king, and you got to put his crown together, and you got to glue it, and you got to paint it, and you got to put magnets in it, and and then you got to like add flocking to the chessboard. That'd be kind of cool, actually. But yeah, people get into it and go that way. Okay, comments. So I have to
I was
fix
just
my board for the same
I was just
reason, says Joe
talking to
Coker.
Ribby about that. Like we were just having a discussion, um,
Oh
about
yeah.
like they were talking about how he saw some guy on YouTube that was talking about board gaming becoming a status symbol, like owning the massive wall board games, so they're getting more and more expensive, kind of like retro gaming, right? So retro
Yeah,
gaming picked up a
Ken has a
lot.
great collection, so I got to have one too.
Yeah, so even though like most of the games sucked, yeah, but like even though
A lot of those he
it
got were
took
donated.
off, well
Yeah.
yes, but like a big thing was like they took off around that time, and even in the mid aughts, and then you had like that one website that just fucking ruined the economy for video games based off their like weird cartridge system. I
All
can't
their
remember what
grading
the
system.
yeah, and it was bullshit too. So, um,
Yeah.
but like it
Action
really
figures
fucked
had
with
that
shit.
too.
But like
Yeah. I'm
so
glad I bought all my stuff before all that happened.
yeah, and
Or
like I
never
said, I
got
used
rid
to
of
own
it.
a bunch of it, and I just got rid of it because I needed to save space. But like the
Sure.
big thing
Most
here
people do.
is and you saw I think you saw a lot of my collection back before I got
Oh
rid of
yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
the big part is that yeah, like that's now becoming a big status symbol. Like you own a big video game collection, it must mean that you collected a lot of games. No, man, it meant that like maybe around the early 2000s, you missed a lot of the games that you played and went out and bought them all again. Like I don't know,
And then
like
you're
not
like,
a lot
oh
of
man,
people
I'm stuck
kept
with
all
all
their
these
old
games that
collections.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah, so
People go through phases and fads, and yeah, there's that too.
I mean,
But
like
yeah,
used
a lot of
Dreamcasts I picked up back in the day, like that just broke and like I just gave up. Like it's not like I owned my one original like
I
Dreamcast,
go
or like
higher.
I owned my
Yeah.
original Xbox. I went through three Xboxes before that one just lasted for some reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I know who to take my broken consoles to.
Yeah, I'm good at fixing the older ones. The newer ones, not so much.
Good at fixing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Slaughter them like animals. Yeah.
I like sand.
Yeah, it's scratchy. Gets everywhere. Yeah. Good old Anakin. Yeah, but I get what Joe was saying earlier. So the HeroQuest set from 2021. I mean, in some ways, it's weird because it looks like a deluxe product, but in some ways, it was clearly rushed out and they cut some corners, and so the build quality is not that great. So yeah, hearing other people's horror stories of like boards ripping and stuff, like most of that stuff is still in the box. Yes, I use the miniatures and they've been fine. Um, I use the tiles; they've been fine. But I mean, I don't use the booklets. I just use the digital versions as I'm doing my streams, and I use a lot of the, I printed my own board. So yeah, but I think the one that you've got, Strange Bus, it's like the next generation of the HeroQuest set. So it's like it's the retail version. It's better build quality. Like you can tell, there's more care put into it. Better quality materials. They took their time with it.
It's up on my
So,
wall.
oh yeah. But see, that's what I'm talking about. If you had those jungles of Delthrak dice, you could just like put them in that little corner there. They'd be fine.
I mount up new shelving for more shit that I put up on my wall
Yep.
because I have kids and I'm pretty sure that like that would reach their hands at one point in time, so that's why it's so
I'm
high
your
up on my
kid.
wall.
I'm getting boxes and I'm stacking them up and I'm getting daddy's cool stuff. It's like, don't do it. He put me up to it. It wasn't my fault.
So
Yeah. Well,
I've got
Joe's
my
comment about.
three
Oh, go
Game
ahead.
Boys and my Vita and my old that's an old Game Boy travel case I've had for a long time. Uh, I think it was given to me. I don't remember if that's the one I rebought or if that's the one I got back in
Brick.
elementary school. I can't remember, but because I've had two of them, but
I hated the Game Boy, but I couldn't pass it up if somebody like let me play theirs. I'd be like, sure, play some Tetris for a while. Why not? Because
well,
I mean,
yeah,
I played the Tiger handhelds. Like that's what I had when I was a kid. Like you
I
got
had
one
those
game
two.
on it. Yeah, like Ninja Fighter was one of the best ones. You could actually pause it. I was like, hell yeah. Problem was like it would only stay paused for like an hour, and then the battery would shut off, and then you'd lose your progress. Like dang it. But I
Wow,
mean,
you were diehard on that. You were
you
a
could
diehard.
momentarily, yeah, pause it because most games you couldn't. Just like, oh, you get distracted. Your mom asks you a question, and you're like, ah, dang it, I gotta start all over.
Yeah,
6 hour car ride or whatever. Gonna
that's
make it fast.
definitely diehard about that, man. That's yeah.
Yeah,
I
I like the Batman series of games. Those were because it's like each one had a different thing. Like okay, you're running around fighting the Joker on top of buildings, or you're in the Batmobile driving down the highway trying to chase him down. And so yeah, it's just they did what
yeah.
they could
See,
with
I
what
had
they
a
had.
Simpsons one that was a hand me down. It was like a Simpsons
Oh,
one where you played as like Bart on a skateboard, and
is this the
then
one where you turn into Bartman if you grab enough of the
I
bonuses?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was so long ago.
That
All I remembered was that
that one was fun.
I wanted to see all the animations on the Tiger handheld, and if you hit the reset button, it would trigger all of them.
Yep, you'd see them
Like,
all.
and you could see them all. So I just did that. And then there was like a Dragon Ball Z one that I had. That was just pretty much your battle of Frieza, and I think by like round 5, you turned into a Super Saiyan, and it just changed your look pretty much. It just
Yeah,
your hair went clear instead of black, and
yeah.
that was it. And like there wasn't any major like difference or anything. It was just like, oh, you reached round 5, here's your
Mm.
reward, and you fought Frieza one more time before you won, and that was it. So I remember like losing my mind to that game over and over again because I wanted to get to the Super Saiyan level, and like I finally did, and it was so unsatisfying. Those games were like,
well,
it was just like, there were small victories, yeah, right. That like the challenge did not meet the destination for me. It was fun, but like they were really, to me, I called them like they were like 30 seconds of fun. It was like your
yeah,
mom bought them to shut you up,
time waster,
and like
time waster.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
and I felt like the Game Boy was just like a refinement of that because you had actual animation. You could swap the cartridges out, but I
I don't
mean, it
know,
was the
bro.
same
I
kind of
I
idea.
would like to say the Game Boy did much better than Tiger Electronics, but at the same
It was
time,
a lot more expensive. It was like I think 190, which is what the Genesis cost when it first came out.
you also probably lived in the heyday of the Tiger Electronic world. I came during the time when they were shelling them
Well,
out like shovelware at the
oh yeah,
supermarket.
heck yeah, bro.
So
Well, yeah, because eventually you had like watches, like you could play Pac-Man on your watch and stuff. But Joe is highlighting something. He says my handheld was Mattel Pro Football 2. I want to say one of those football games was like re-released a couple of different times. Like I've seen it in stores. So they have these. Of course, now I mean it's been a while, but they started releasing these mini arcades, and that takes me back to the very beginning because now if you get a mini arcade, it's like a little plastic box, and it's usually like the NES version of some game. And it's got a little crappy little joystick and buttons, and it's meant to simulate like an arcade, but it's just one game, and usually it's an abbreviated version of whatever game it
so
is. Like, but back in the day, they had. So you were mentioning how when you press the button, it shows all the images on the screen on the
yeah, I was
charger.
actually while explaining that, because like now we've just gone into a whole nother topic.
We have. Oh
This
yeah,
was the
yeah.
one I had. This is
Ah,
the Simpsons
okay.
one that I had. Um, and then hold on, let me see if I can
Some
find the one I had
Well,
for.
yeah. Some Game Boy games are basically they're just black and white NES games, and some of those were pretty amazing. I agree with you, but I guess the ones I was attracted to, I always ended up being disappointed. I was like, this feels like a poor man's whatever. This is Double Dragon, but it's like a crappier Double Dragon, or this is a Spider-Man, but it's a crappier Spider-Man.
Oh man, I don't know
But I
if they
mean,
have
the
it.
fact
Do
that it
they?
was the fact that it was portable made you like that. That was what made up for it. To say, okay, this is something I can take with me.
Yeah, this is it. This is what I. Okay, so this is another one. It doesn't have the picture, like it doesn't have the, but this is the one that I got at the supermarket, and
Oh yeah,
it was very simple. It was one side had Goku, the other side had Frieza, and that was it. And I guess
yep.
you could hook a Goku figurine into this for some reason. I never got the Goku figurine. I think, like I
Oh
said,
man.
I remember begging my mom because I was at a Walgreens and I was begging my mom for a toy, and she pretty much tossed, like she got so annoyed because this is once again back in the day when you could like pretty much rip your kid over the side, tell him to shut up or something like that. Not like she was
Yeah.
like mean, but like she was like, you need to stop. We're trying to get growth. We're trying. I'm just here to pick up some eggs and some orange juice, and you're bugging
Oh,
me. And
Goku.
yeah, and I was like,
Goku.
I just
Goku.
wasn't having it. And like, so she picked that up, and I'm pretty sure she just ripped it open after she got out from the Walgreens and just tossed that at me in the back of the car and tossed the rest out the window. And I'm pretty sure the Goku figurine was in there, and she just didn't pay
Oh
attention.
dang.
So
Dang.
like it was like one of those days where we had a bad day. We were just having a bad day, and she was just like, "Take it, like just take it." I was just being
Yeah.
rotten. I was just being really, really rotten
I
that
did.
day.
I did something similar to my mom too when I was that age. So sorry, mom.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I uh I gotta say the same thing. Like, but like that, yeah, because I'm looking here. I was like, man, I never had a Goku figurine on mine. At least I
We gotta
don't
find.
remember having
We
a
gotta.
Goku figurine
We
on
gotta
mine.
find that kid. We gotta find that poor kid who like reached down on the ground in the parking lot and found the Goku figure and was like, oh. But then he didn't have a game to go with it. So all his life he had that Goku figure. Yep.
Okay. No, I lied. So there's multiple battles. You fought the Ginyu Force, I think, in that game too. Because I'm looking at the screen and it looks like you fight the Ginyu Force, but like the ending was Frieza. So that was my bad. There was like different rounds, and at the end there was Frieza or something like that. But this was like forever ago. I can't even remember it, and I don't even know if you could get these, but it was such a long time ago. And every time I got one of these in my hands, it was like I play it for like maybe I got a week's worth of like legit game time, and that was about it for me.
I think our first one was bowling. We had LCD bowling, and we dropped it like shortly after we got it, like out of the package. We dropped it, and it broke the sound chip, so there's no sound. But the good thing about it was like you could play it and like nobody knew you were playing because there's no music. It wasn't just like dee, 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 dee. I was like, okay, can you mute that please? Okay, enough. Go to bed. Oh, you're still playing. I can hear it. Yeah, the ones that I was thinking of, the
Do you remember
Coleco
this?
tabletop arcades.
Sorry, do you
I
remember this
wanted.
one? You're
Okay.
taking me down memory lane. Do you remember this one?
Sure. Yeah, let's go for it. Sure.
Does,
Wheel.
does
Fortune.
anybody
No,
remember this one? They've made three iterations of this one. My
I never
grandma
saw.
had this one. This was like I just got a memory. I was like looking down through I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, I played this one all the time at my grandma's house.
Oh,
Like
man.
this one, I got like this was probably maybe the most reliable out of all of them because like Wheel of Fortune, man, it was just Wheel of Fortune. But like you know, you got different categories and all that stuff in there, so like that one had some good replay value. But
I'm
holy
gonna share
shit,
share a link with you. That was my game there. Batman.
Batman! Let me see.
They made
Ah,
another very similar game where it was just they just swapped out Batman with some other character. But yeah, you're throwing batarangs
yeah, I
and
think I had a friend who
the
had something like
wheel.
this.
Yeah. But yeah, Tiger Electronics. Konami did a series too. Theirs were like shaped like surfboards. They weren't as good though, I didn't think. But they had like Ninja Turtles. They had Double Dribble. Double Dribble was weird because you would throw the basketball, but you wouldn't throw it in the hoop. You would just like try to hit this like rectangle that was like moving up and down. And yeah, that's how you got points.
This was the Wheel of Fortune 1995 edition. And like like I said, my grandmother had this forever. I don't even know what happened to it, but I just remember
Oh,
playing the crap out of it.
this was
And
the other one that had the pause button. So I just shared it in your IMs there.
Ninja Fighter. I can't pull that one. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe I can pull it up in a tab. There we go.
Just a link. Yeah.
Zoom in.
Yeah. So AVGN makes fun of these, and he's right, but these were also the bomb, especially
Oh,
if you lived before the Game Boy or you didn't have the Game Boy or
I just say I
couldn't.
totally agree with them because a lot of these were I called them shovelware. Like they were pumped out like a lot. I mean, before the Game Boy, like these were top like they made better top shelf games. And like I said, the Wheel of Fortune one was good. I had the Simpsons one, which wasn't too bad because I think it had like 10 rounds on it, and they just got
Mhm.
harder and harder. And then once you beat it, just recycled, like it just restarted. But like the the Dragon Ball one, and like you just had ones that were just very blatant. Once you got into games like I said, the Game Boy, yeah, Ruby. That's what I thought of when you brought up the watch. Was the wrist game? But yeah, like yeah, but like that, yeah. The Simpsons was it? Yeah, that was the one I just showed off. Kurgan, the Simpsons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
this was the
I
one
was
I
looking
had.
for it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, this was the one I had. It was just Bart on the skateboard, and this was the one I would hit like the reset button on. I think it was like it's right here. Hit the little reset button, it would trigger all the.
Yeah. Well, and I did that too with the Batman, but it was like, oh, there's other stuff. So it's like I was trying to like play the game long enough to see all the things that they were showing you.
I'm gonna tell you, this is one of those things where like you got so bored or it got so old and decrepit, and like you get you just forget about it that it would become a table stop, like one of those things where you like prop it, like you prop it for your table or something. That's what Tiger Electronics became for me later on. It was just it's one of those things where like we had a dead Tiger Electronics game like laying in like my big toy box, and my table became wobbly. I was like propping it underneath, and you could still play it. You get bored, you pull it out from underneath the desk, and pop in some batteries, and it'd still go. Like,
yep.
oh,
Yeah,
Donkey Kong.
a lot of kids that I knew would bring these to school, these Nintendo Game & Watch. They call them Game & Watch because like it would keep track of the time as well, but it's like that's not why you bought it.
Oh,
And they would
yeah, Game &
unfold
Watch.
it would unfold like a phone, but you have the two screens.
The DS before the DS.
Yeah. Well, and they've re-released these in modern times with like it's actually got like a Game Boy Color chip in it, so it's like you can run more modern games, more modern. Like late 80s games instead of just the simple animations. What I was going to say, there were these other things. I always wanted them because of old commercials, but they were called Coleco Tabletop Arcade, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the newer ones that they've made, like mini arcades, basically do what these promised but never delivered. So there were these mini arcades, and I that was an episode of AVGN I really appreciated because he actually showed them like up close and everything, and it's like, yeah, these were not as cool as they were made out to be because it was the same idea as the Tiger Electronics, but they were using LEDs, so they were in color, but you had to like turn your lights down to actually be able to see the graphics very well. And
Okay.
I'll share a couple images, but they were based on like arcade games of the time, and they had, joysticks and.
Oh yeah, I remember these. We saw they're always in his background and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're not as good as you think, but there's modern implementations of this kind of idea, but inside it's an NES chip or a MAME chip or something like that, and it does what they promised back in the early 80s. What I
Yeah, they're
liked
not
were
bad.
the cabinet art. I mean, it's a cool like display because you could line a whole bunch of them up, and I guess I don't know, GI Joe could be like at the arcade or something.
Oh, because they're like little mini arcade machines.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they're very collectible now.
They were the bomb at the time. Oh, I bet.
Yep. Yeah, because Coleco made their own console, but they also made these for a while. Yep. Video games, man.
Video games, man.
Yep. So yeah, not a lot happening in the world of HeroQuest now that you mention it.
I don't know. You
But
made good time, brother.
yeah, but lots of other cool things out there. Joe Koger says those mini arcade games were the bomb at the time. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Raspberry Pi. Yeah, you can. The idea is still good. The idea of having a portable video game, even if it's just one game you can take out, have some fun with. But yeah, you really wish you could just like shrink down whatever you've got. And yes, you can play it on a phone. People would sell those too. I mean, I remember it's probably been 10 years now or more. They would sell like just a little tabletop arcade machine. It's like the size of a lunchbox, and you just shove your phone into the top of it. Your phone provides like everything, the sound, the graphics, and the joystick is just like when you press the button, it's just punching the screen with a little finger, you know. So it just does it for you.
Hey,
This
Kurgan,
is video game archaeology. Yeah.
have I introduced you, or have you seen this new movie trailer? Well, not really new, but I have
I,
a recent movie trailer that I
oh,
wanted to show you.
is it Morbin time again?
Almost similar,
I
but
still haven't seen that movie,
um,
but I heard I wasn't
it's
missing out.
similar to video games. Similar to video games.
Interesting. Okay.
Um,
Well, it's a
it's the
clip from Mac and Me.
Here we go.
He goes flying off the cliff.
Oh, it's Steve. It's Steve from Minecraft.
Okay.
Oh man. First there was Five Nights at Freddy's. And the Emoji Movie. Jason Momoa.
Oh, we can't play that. That's the Beatles. We don't want to get completely claimed on that one.
Audio Jungle. The pull of Paul Rudd. What does that mean? Oh no. Minecraft. So
Yep.
I played a Minecraft arcade game, and it was weird because it was like a really watered down Gauntlet clone. But every time you played, like it shot cards out of the machine, and you could grab the cards and you could like scan the cards like on the outside of the machine. It would give you like bonuses and stuff. I was like, oh man, how insidious!
So
Then you collect all the stuff.
so gonna
Minecraft movie
they've released another trailer for it. If you check
trash,
that out on your own thing. But yes, very much so. Um,
but
it
Minecraft is
looks
so
bad.
big, people will.
Looks bad.
I mean, man,
It looks very bad. And that's all I kind of really have to say for it is the fact that we have
it exists.
have
Jack
a
Black is
have a
Minecraft.
we have a very weird cast shifting with it. I kind of wanted to talk about it a couple of rantcasts ago because it's been a thing since September. But it just never really popped up on our topic list. So, I have a lot. I kind of a thing to point out with it, and then kind of to defend it too, because like I feel like the people who are calling it garbage, aren't the demographic for the movie, but I do have to agree with the people who are calling it like that it looks bad because it doesn't look great. So, um, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it up to mostly the people who are watching or listening to the podcast to decide. I started playing Minecraft officially around 2011, 2010,
Yeah.
2011, when it was new, before Microsoft took over Mojang. And you probably are too old for it, Joe. And like I said, I was 19 when I started playing it. And like that was because the concept of destroying and building were kind of a big thing in video games around that time. It wasn't like not in the 2D space, but in the 3D space. Like there weren't a lot of games out there that did a lot of like, well, yeah, then I don't know. We'll get to that, Bohemius. I can answer that for you. Give me a second. The big thing with that was like I liked games like Red Faction, Armageddon, and like the original Red Faction games where like you could be in an environment that was destructible, like, and every way you played it, if you replayed it again, it was destructible in a different sense because all the environment was usually destructible. And I liked building cool environments in Minecraft and then either destroying them or building them for other people or doing stuff like that. And then when it started becoming more of a kid focused thing, or Microsoft bought it and then commercialized it, packaged it, stamped it, and didn't know what they had. I don't know if it definitely should have sand. It kind of, yeah, but like it started becoming less interesting for me. That, and we had better games around that time. Indie games started releasing things with soft physics a couple of years after 2011. Like you had games like Space Engineers, which is a kind of an open world space game with soft physics, so you can build spacecraft with the Newtonian physics like engine, and then like you can smash them into each other. You can smash them against other stuff, or they can tear apart. And like once that started getting released, I branched away from Minecraft because like I didn't have to pretend that things were breaking down by smashing them or mixing them with elements. I actually had something that I could construct and have the environment destroy on its own. And I, big imagination being that young, but like I was ready to go into newer and better games. And the last time I officially played Minecraft, they were just incorporating villagers and that and a new biome. Now, like the game's got like so many different things and mods and all sorts of shit. So,
yeah. Well, and it's become a meme too. It's like I'm just gonna murder that guy in Minecraft. It's like,
yeah.
oh, phew.
So now Mojang himself, the creator behind Minecraft, is on the downhill slope. He's a rich asshole who's kind of falling apart, losing his money. Minecraft owns the actual official IP to Minecraft fully, So this is probably where that's coming from.
It's always got to be a downer like that.
Well, it is a downhill. Like it's sold for a fuck ton of money, but there is a there is a very sad story to that. And I guess there was like a lot of allegations with the guy too. So like, I mean, look that up at your own risk if you have spare time. But it's kind of one of those things where a guy had a passion project, got into power, lost his mind a little bit, and now eating some humble pie. So, pretty typical, I would say. But as far as the movie goes, I feel like we're kind of cashing in on the video game craze. A lot of big companies are trying to cash in on the video game craze with movies, especially with the change in dynamic on how movies are kind of changing, or how the film industry is kind of changing, because attention spans with this current generation are a lot shorter. People can. I even my friends now currently, I know a guy who will sit with more monitors than me. I have 3, right? I usually use it for production. So I'll have my stream screen up here. I'll have a couple websites up here, and I'll have my game or something like that. And I have enough hardware to hold all that. I have a guy who has 8 monitors, and he will have a stream for 4, or each one has a stream. He will run 32 tabs on one, and then he will be doing something completely else, like he's 3D printing and doing a project on the last one. And it's like nuts. Like, I do not need to be that productive to maintain my sanity.
He's still bored.
Yeah, and that's what I say is like, I feel like that's kind of that's going to be less of a skill set, more of a problem. But people can't just wind down and watch a movie. They start to wander. Your eyes start to wander. Yeah, so you move your eyes to your phone, or
try it sometime. Just sit down and just read a book. That's what I'm saying. That goes into an album.
That goes into a whole other realm of unplugging yourself, and because you're not losing skills by doing that at all. You're giving yourself a brain break. And that's a good thing that my children's school teaches right now, is having brain breaks, like giving yourself 15 minutes to sit and read a book, or kind of calm yourself, because our environment is way too fucking chock full of like shit that just comes at you all at once. So it's good to breathe.
I'm listening to you, I'm looking stuff up, and I'm reading the chat. It's like I'm doing it right now.
I'm doing 2 things right now, brother. I'm looking at the chat and I'm talking. So
I'm talking here. Yeah, he's reading Foundation. I've been reading Lord of the Rings. I've finished the book, the story, but I'm reading the appendices, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah, see, and Joe, that is a big change. Something from 1930, but they are very slow paced movies. That's like during when the movie industry was still in its not heyday, but like it was becoming very new, still very new. And
it was you had gone from the silent era into the talkies, but you still had kind of that stage play.
Doing stuff, looking at Discord, messing with ChatGPT, playing games on my board game arena. It's ridiculous. See, so that's where I start to think that like I might be doing too many tasks. But once again, not trying to go too far away from the subject. I do really feel that like our attention spans are getting shorter, right? And while it's great that we can multitask, I feel like the movie industry is adapting to that, right? You've got to be the fall. Look, man. Look, Kurgan. It is ridiculous, Ribby. It's very ridiculous. But
well, it's like those.
Hey,
I have some.
Don't worry, Joe. I am an epileptic, so I'm gonna piss off what's his face and watch most movies on my phone.
Me?
No, no.
Don't watch it on your phone.
Don't watch your movies on your phone. I need you to crawl like a baby.
I knew that was coming. Be so wonderful.
Be so beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, I got it wrong.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. David Lynch. Look it up.
Yeah, David Lynch. Yeah, you know,
Man.
you're not watching a movie if you're watching it on your fucking phone. Yeah.
The man is a hero of the Republic for saying that.
But I feel like the Minecraft movie kind of has that same smell as the Borderlands movie. And coming to Joe about that to answer your question.
And then we're back on track. All right.
But to answer your question, Joe, the Borderlands movie suffered from a lot of big things. And there's if you look up if you want to write it down or if you have time to look it up now, there's a guy that I like to reference for this. I didn't just completely reference off him, but to give you a short synopsis of what really happened, you can look up a guy. He's called Matt McMuscles, and he does a segment called "What Happened," and he has a little breakdown on what happened with that movie. But just to kind of shorten it down for you, a lot of it was COVID, casting issues, and the fact that they were holding on to that movie for quite a long time. So. Just a lot of changing of hands, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that script was AI written, but they put certain cast members in the wrong role. I was really surprised when you had was it Kate Beckinsale and Jamie Lee Curtis in that movie, because I was like, what? I mean, I was I was kind of excited about that. I was like, that's really interesting, because I didn't think they would take those types of movies, but I guess. One of them said that the only reason they took it was because literally they had nothing going on. They were looking for work.
Oh yeah,
and that was during the COVID time. So, and they thought it would be a good deal. They weren't so desperate, but they thought it would be a interesting fit because they haven't done that role before, so they took it. So need money, thought it'd be a good change of scenery. Turns out it was a bad judgment call, but. I mean, like I said, I haven't.
I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, my grandkids wanted to see it." Sorry, that's another reason.
No, but I haven't watched it personally. But I have seen the fact that people are saying the really bad part of it was the script. So the writing was bad. They casted Kevin Hart in a role that wasn't comedic, and usually that's what he likes to pick because he is a comedian. So. He tried to do a very serious or kind of deaf type of character, and it just didn't fit. Didn't fit at all. A lot of the acting was kind of very subpar based off the writing that was they were directed to. So, but yes, there's a lot of quick cutting, strobe effects that you're talking about, Joe. I see that in a lot of movies. But I think there's still some good movies that focus a lot on the characters, and they still kind of give that not quick cutting, but they kind of change scenes quicker than they need to. Like I said, I hate to keep going back to it, but Andor was a really good example of that, because it kept you in place with certain scenes, and it allowed the characters to speak, have dialogue. When it came to action, it was very fast and quick pace, you were looking back and forth. But Andor was nice, and like I said, yeah, you have a lot of other movies that are just all over the place.
I mean, compare A New Hope to Rise of Skywalker. You're sitting down with Obi-Wan,
I don't even want
having a nice conversation.
That's not even a good.
You're planet.
Not even
a
good comparison. Not even a good comparison. No, you want to compare. Give it at least a fight, okay, man. You don't want to compare it to something that bad. And it's really funny because I've had to hide my bucket because I still have that Rise of Skywalker bucket now in my closet because I literally cannot, for any reason, give myself a good example or a good excuse to enjoy that movie. There were some good cast members in that movie, and they got fucking shafted and put up on the sidewall. And another big reason why I don't like that movie isn't just the fact that it was not a great movie. It was the fact that there was so much editing changes between here and China and stuff like that. They shafted John Boyega so bad with that movie, and they hid a lot of scenes that they tried to appease us with. but did not want the People's Republic of China to see because they were offensive to China. And like I said, if you are trying to showcase art, something you personally believe in, which is going to come to our next topic here eventually.
Oh man,
you shouldn't have to fucking hide anything. But you know, Disney plays it safe everywhere, which to me kind of kills the whole we're a family company. You know, if you're trying to like hide certain family or moral values, it just shows that you're not really with anybody. Only money.
Yeah. Only money.
Let me see. So kind of moving into the Star Wars. I know this is kind of a quick transition. You know, we like to
enjoyed ourselves.
We like to switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna give you guys a little preview of what Disney's cooking up now. There have been a couple books that I recently didn't know about that I'm probably not gonna dive into. But you know, you had Secrets of the Jedi, Secrets of the Sith, and I guess they were pretty good. It got recently good reviews. And there's now something called Secrets of the Clone Troopers, and it's gonna release a brand new character. 2
years ago.
So. Or they're talking about a new concept, I guess. So let me pop this up. This is what Disney's got cooking for our brand new concept. Can anybody recognize what we've got for our brand new concept?
That's a cosplayer. I think I saw that person at Gen Con, right?
You did?
No.
Oh.
This is an official product.
Okay.
The clone troopers, they were bred for war.
Okay.
Humanity enslaved.
Without coming off as super offensive, because I'm not trying to do that in any way, shape, or form. But I am going to explain why I think the idea is problematic. That basketball player should still be in a Russian prison. Female clones. Oh, Bohemius, you're close. So Disney, Lucasfilm, whoever the fuck, I don't know who did this, but thought that, you know, we have millions of people in the Star Wars universe to expand upon, right? To expand a story upon, to whatever. If you wanted to make a diverse character base, somebody who was awesome, somebody that you wanted to pour your heart and soul into, or whatever, there's so many people. We wanted to do the Clone Troopers, and we thought this would be a great avenue to express Sister, the trans clone trooper. My head shook a little bit, like in confusion, because, and I hate to be the canon guy. I really hate to be the canon guy.
I don't hate it at all.
I went, huh? Like, what? Like, exactly. So this is Sister, codename Sister, as Rex is referring to. You know, always wanted to be, always felt uncomfortable in their skin on the battlefield. That's what I've been told. Is that's how that goes. I don't particularly feel that the story arc should be fit for a clone trooper, and the reason being, respectfully, the reason being is clone troopers are bred for combat. The only couple clone troopers that left the battlefield in search for a peaceful life still had those same feelings. They you know, had that whole thing. If you want to do this, fine. The storyline just feels ham-fisted. The concept feels shoehorned. The style just feels out of touch and out of place. And that's what I'm saying. Is with this one didn't leave the battlefield in search for a better life, decided they wanted to change their alias or whatever. If anything, I feel like this is offensive to the community, like anybody who might be LGBTQ, because I feel like most of these people claim or say that you feel like this, for most of your life. Clone troopers are bred and born for combat since they come out of the tube.
Yeah.
So this one storyline, from what I'm told, and if I'm wrong, then I take back a lot of this. But if I'm wrong, then whatever. But from what I've been told, the feeling of change was around after the Clone Wars or during this time period. Always kind of felt a little uncomfortable, expressed it. But once again, at the end of the day, why do I care? Like, you're a clone, it's a clone trooper, man. The only time they had a backstory was when they were relating to their brothers in combat. Okay? We had one real outside story where there was a guy who left the battlefield, deserted to have a family.
Was that Rex?
That wasn't Rex. It was one of Rex's brothers, somebody he trained with, I believe.
Because I didn't follow much of that stuff. I basically know what's in the movies.
But so, from what I can tell, like I said, I could be wrong. This is the impression that's being given to me from Disney's perspective, right? This is just straight on the battlefield. And so, like I said, could be anybody. This person could be a smuggler. This person could be a bounty hunter. This person could be anything, and not shoehorned, right? You don't have to state it. You don't have to put a big sign over their head, because nobody else walks around the Star Wars universe with their sexual orientation hanging over their head, right? I feel like that's insulting. That's massively insulting. And so I hate to be the guy that has to report on this stuff all the time, but I feel like if I don't, it's just the big YouTubers that make a big deal over this stuff.
Yeah, sorry, Star Wars man.
Yeah, sorry, Star Wars man. I just feel like it was shoehorned. It's very shoehorned, and I feel like it was kind of hate, like made out of hate, in response to a lot of the claimed toxicity from their past IPs, not just the Acolyte, but a lot of the negative feedback. So I feel like they doubled down and did this. And this isn't something that should be done out of hate. And I'm not saying that it was, but that's how it feels. It shouldn't be done out of hate. It shouldn't be done just because this is the message that we want to give, so we're giving it anyway. It's Rose all over again. Well, Joe, and that's another thing, is once again, it was like Rise of Skywalker. That was shoehorned so hard. Disney playing, and like I said, if none of this is true, it's still Disney playing we're neutral, we're diverse, we're blah, blah, blah. But none of this stuff is going to go anywhere else but here.
Do you know what Bohemian's talking about? I don't know who Zero is.
It's going to backlash as a concept, because a clone with this trait is going to be considered a failure like Zero. Okay, so somebody else brought that up in a podcast, and it wasn't just with Theory. It was because I looked on multiple avenues with this, right? They started off as a male clone trooper. They felt differently, right? Somebody said, well, why not include them in something like the Bad Batch? Because the Bad Batch is all about going outside of the norm, going outside of their programming, being somebody different.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but maybe that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I thought there was some.
Well, and it wasn't about being a defect. It was about going outside of your comfort zone, because the Bad Batch was made with a different strand of DNA. It wasn't made with Jango's DNA. It was made with somebody else's. And so, like what Bohemius is saying, and
so were they rejects, or did they purposely make the clones differently to try to give them more?
They were altered. They were altered. Yes, they looked weird, but they were altered. And the whole point was they didn't stand up with Order 66 when Order 66 went around, because their chips didn't work. I think one of them followed orders. I can't remember his name, but he was the sniper, and it wasn't because his inhibitor chip was working. It's because he was the most closely in tune with just following orders, so that's what he did. But the big thing was, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, this just doesn't make sense to me. If I don't follow a lot of the Disney canon much anymore after a certain time period, but this to me is drastically confusing because clones have a they do have certain moralities. They do have certain decision making. They're not just robots, right? But the
Not
whole point,
automatons.
the whole point that gave them that diversity was the fact that they do have one thing in common, and is that most clones, especially the first, second, third generation, most of them were born and bred for combat. Most of them succeeded. So yes, unless this is a defect or somebody who was born in like the fourth, fifth, sixth generation afterwards, which if they're working with Rex, they obviously are not. This is somebody who is still bred from Django's DNA, from how we're looking at it. You know, and that's what I'm saying is like, you can't, to me, it's not the problem of who they are, right? It's the fact that we're just throwing shit in the Star Wars universe and saying it sticks. And
you're taking established lore and you're saying, well, who cares? Because I want to tell my little story.
yeah, and then after that, like once again, these same people have come out and said, well, who gives a shit about the canon? Well, then there's no storyline in the Star Wars universe. It's like
point.
It's like 5-year-old at the playground saying I'm invincible. You can't touch me. Like you need to have some sort of like background. None of you fucking nerds have read Harry Potter before, or like read like any other major franchise like Lord of the Rings. They don't just start walking to Mordor and then all of a sudden turn left and go like to fucking like, I don't know, a TGI Fridays and sit down and have dinner. Like it's they don't just do random shit
Marvel,
because they can.
Lord of the Rings.
So
yeah,
so
yeah. It's like Star Wars is their playground. It's not. It doesn't matter.
So
like it's just so plastic, you can just do anything.
And that's what I'm saying is, to me, if it's not certain people messing with the Star Wars universe because they can, it's Disney looking at a list and going, we have to hit these check boxes. There was literally a fucking picture of them. They had a board, they had a line down the board, and it had to hit these dynamics, and then there was a new set of dynamics they were trying to write. Like they wanted to put dinosaurs or something in there. And it just shocks me like how out of fucking tune they are. Like, and I cannot imagine even new people to the newer generation of fans would find this sort of shit that enjoyable. And like I'm not even talking about the clone trooper at this point. I'm just talking about the fact that we just shoehorn whatever the fuck we want and call it good. So
yeah, this isn't 1993. I mean, that would have been the time to tell the story, I guess.
Like I said, it's
there's so many. Well, I feel like as a sci-fi thing, the clones, there's so much richness there, because yes, they in Star Wars they do not really scratch the surface of the whole idea of droids. Like they seem almost, well, yeah, they seem basically human, and yet they're treated like like machines, like slaves. And so you could tell all these stories about it, but they just kind of gloss over it. And it's like, okay, the clones, okay, they don't really come out and like look into the camera and say it is wrong to clone people. Like they don't do that. It's just, we have a clone army now, huh? Well, okay, well, we're going to use them to, for good. And then they end up, yeah, becoming the stormtroopers and, the force of evil. So it's like a tragedy. And Order 66 was in there, and yeah, the clones work side by side with Jedi, and it's like, oh, never mind, time to kill you. Like they have no free will, they just do it. So that's a cool thing for a story, but then you're just going to throw that aside and say, oh well, to score political points with a couple of viewers, we're going to just tell this side story and rub it in your face and say, oh, you don't like it? Well, you're a bad person.
Bohemia says, what's the problem creating a character that's trans without touching the canonical stuff? Nothing. I think you're misreading what I'm saying here. Is they are touching the canonical stuff by doing that. I've said that, like, there are millions of characters in the universe, right, that could have this sort of storyline.
But it's a clone trooper is the problem.
It's like saying, like, I don't know. I really hate having these sorts of debates, because to me Star Wars isn't that important enough. I just feel like it's just weird. It really is just weird. And as like, this person could have like 5 sets of fingers and toes, and I would tell you it's not canonical. Like,
yeah. I want to defend you a little bit there, Strange Bus, because I feel like so many franchises have gone through the same process as Star Wars is that, yes, at a certain point you get writers,
Oh, I thought you were
directors.
disagreeing with me. Sorry, Kurgan. I have to correct myself. I thought you were like disagreeing with me, Behemoth. Usually, you're kind of my like the debatey type of guy on the stream, and
Yeah,
I have to be
no
ready.
question.
I have to be ready, and I was not ready for that. So I I I, I apologize. You were asking a question. No, you're good. You're good. I was just fast reading. Once again,
Well,
I am multitasking. So I
see, and I wasn't gonna come against Bohemius.
so
I was gonna feel like you're being too hard on yourself, Strange Bus, because I think a lot of these franchises, you get directors and writers who feel like, oh yeah, this is just my sandbox now. This is my sounding board. I can just tell any story I want. Who cares what's come before? Who cares if it makes sense in the lore? I'm just going to tell my story, and Star Wars has just given me a platform to do it. I
I
feel like
don't
that's wrong. I feel like
I
that does a disservice to fans, to people who have beloved, the lore for so long. So it's not just a matter of, okay, a few toxic fans like gatekeeping and preventing you from changing anything. I think there really is I don't know, a kind of earned loyalty that you've gotten because you've been along all this time, and now they're just going to say, your opinion doesn't matter. We don't care if this makes sense. We're just going to feed it to you, and if you don't like it, you just don't belong anymore. Like, yes, you can tell that story, but just don't. Ryan Johnson is
hey
basketball shaped head.
hey, you watch what you say about Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. Well,
He
Knives Out was a
makes
pretty
he
good movie,
makes
wasn't
okay movies, okay?
it? I liked. Was it Looper? Didn't make
Looper
any
was
sense, but
great. I
I
liked
enjoyed
Looper.
it. Yeah.
That fucking guy.
Yeah, but he stay away from Star Wars.
Look,
Yeah.
dude, this is all starting to make
Put
Ryan Johnson look like the
put,
fucking
put the
second
Star
coming,
Wars down.
okay?
See, all in good time. Yeah. Welcome home, Jar Jar Binks. All is
I
forgiven.
I but like to be honest, man, if they made a like I said, if they made a character that was transgender, right? And it was brought up like not as the main part of the story, and I say that like once again, it's not pasted over the top of their fucking head, right? Like, I'm trans, here, check me out, look how trans I am. Like, no, if it starts off the story as like a ship is flying in, right? It's a smuggler of some sort. They whatever is trying to grab the controls, and like their ship's going down, whatever. They crash onto this planet and they meet some new characters, and you know uh, they meet this new other character. They're sitting around a campfire, and it's mentioned in the campfire story as they're bonding. Like, I was always
Trying to get to
afraid
know
of
each other.
acceptance because I was different, and then the alien character that they're bonding with was like, oh, I can relate to that dude. Well, not quite like me, and like she breaks it down. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I don't give a shit that they're trans. This is what I'm talking about. Like, a reference to Star Wars Holocron right now on Twitter or X. Secrets of the Clone Troopers includes a first look at Sister, a trans woman clone trooper. Rex's description of Sister in the book reads, when one of our kind expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers, she featured she'd have to hide who she was. And that to me screams like, I don't know, weird. It
Takes you out of the universe.
And then, like, somebody else replied, like, no, they didn't. Stormtroopers are created clones, so how would one of them decide if they wanted to change their gender? That I disagree with, too, because, like, at the same time, one, he's referring to them as stormtroopers, excuse me, and two,
I call them stormtroopers.
the clone troopers all
I
had
know.
different ways of thinking during combat. That's why they were sectioned off. So, I mean, yes, they eventually did become stormtroopers, like the first gen stormtroopers, but like
Right.
eventually they started hiring mercenaries and stuff during that time, right before like during the early stages of the Empire. Camino was destroyed, or the Camino facility was destroyed, and this is both Lucas canon and Disney canon. They were just done differently, and everybody was assassinated and or killed. It's actually explained more in the Bad Batch. So, but like that's what I'm saying is like it's one of those things, but like that's why they're different. Clone troopers are different from stormtroopers. They're more accurate. They're more organized. They are they are better in general. They helped instill fear in the Empire at one point in time. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I was making a comparison with Star Trek. Now,
oh,
Star
okay.
Trek could be kind of insufferable. Sometimes they would just like absolutely club you over the head with the message. It's like you didn't have to do it that hard. You could have just light tap, the back of the cranium. It was fine. But Star Trek did this all the time because they were always meeting alien species and different life forms, and they would have like different morality, or they would have some issue where you could discuss something in human society in the sci-fi context, and it still made sense within that universe because they didn't just drop everything. Like Captain Kirk was still Captain Kirk, Picard was still Picard, but they were like, well, how would they deal with the question that was put before them? So I think, yeah, people would say, okay, Star Trek could get heavy-handed sometimes, but they handled that sort of thing very well. So in a sci-fi context, it can be a perfect place to discuss something like that. But yeah, why would you make it the Clone Trooper? It's sort of like I hate to bring it up, but the whole thing where they were saying like Lando had a thing for his droid. It's like, what were they? What
I
the?
see it. At the end of the day,
Just
man, I don't even
why?
care about that. Well, I don't even care about that. If that was the case, that was the case. But at the end of the day, how
It
is that
didn't.
important to the story though? And
Yeah, it just.
that's what I'm talking about. Was like, really, who cares who's fucking who? Like,
Hey,
this
for
is
some people, that's the most important part of the story. The
yeah,
shippers, they
but
call them,
that I
the
don't give a
slash
shit about
fiction
that.
writers. I know
The
those
the
people
big
are.
the
They can
big
turn
thing
anything
here
into.
the big thing here, and that this is what's being brought up a lot of the time, and um, especially something that Theory referenced a couple weeks ago, which I will definitely reference because it's true, right? Is when you start bringing real world politics like directly into it, like you don't like Lucas referenced the political landscape of the time.
Yeah.
He used it as
Mhm.
inspiration. When you start just bringing it in to your story, you start bringing in like things as simple as Phillips head screws start showing up in Star Wars. You start losing the fact that that's the world of Star Wars and the real world comes into play. And it's true because Star Wars was done so excellently at one point in time that when you turned it on, you watched it, you played the games, you read the books, you were transported somewhere completely different. Our politics didn't exist, our real world problems didn't exist. You were either transported to a set of heroes, a set of villains, whoever the hell who was in that story. You were experiencing their struggles, their issues, what the world was going on around them, and how they were going to overcome it. That was it. You weren't going through our political landscape. And that's the thing is Star Wars has stopped becoming escapist entertainment and more about why am I not included in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm bald and I'm almost 200 pounds. I do not need a fat bald Jedi in Star Wars. I don't.
Hey, we've got Mace Windu was bald.
Okay, but he's not fat and he's not middle like
Jabba. Jabba was
Mace
fat.
Windu. Okay, but once again, what I'm saying is I don't need a fat, middle-aged, white, bald dude to feel included in Star Wars. I also
Yeah,
don't
where's
need like I don't need
need that?
that. Like I don't go to watch Star Wars to relate to my real world life, and I feel like
Need a
some people are
balding
doing
Wookiee.
that. Like I don't need like somebody who's experiencing a midlife crisis to look in his mirror in his Coruscant apartment and start crying because like that's not what I watch fucking Star Wars for. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't watch Star Wars for is they don't watch it because of,
Right.
like for dark drama. You want to do that, watch something like Kidding or something like Jim Carrey's dark humor or like something like you watch Dexter or something like that. Like there are tons of other shows that relate to how shitty your life is or can be. Like, and that's what I'm saying is there are other shows that take you out of that. They bring you out of that. They are meant to if you're having a bad day, you can watch that and you don't have a bad day because you are put somewhere out for just a small amount of time. The people who do not use that for a small amount of time, that's their problem. But like that's what I'm saying is it's meant to Ribby, we're not going down that hole. I'm not doing that today. We're not doing that today. I'm bald, Ribby. I'm balding. I have really bad male pattern baldness, but that's what I'm saying is like I don't
to see yourself in Star Wars, you don't need a character front and center going.
no.
Well, because they did have in the Acolyte, there's a guy that has like a receding hairline.
But once again, your main character, the person that once again, this clone trooper right here is going to have a main story, is going to be a part of it. You don't need a reflection of who you are all the time. But at the same time, if they're going to do that, if that's how they're going to express it, at least do it in a way that makes sense. Something that I would want to pick up a book and read. And I feel like why are we doing this just so half of your audience is going to get interested? Because I feel like some of the people who can relate to some of that, some of those triumphs and tribulations, are still going to say, hey, that's interesting. A trans clone trooper, cool, great. Yeah. But like, once again, Star Wars is such a huge fan base. Why are we still trying to diversify it? Why can't we just pick that up? Are you guys just thinking, well, nobody's gonna, if you're not interested in this, then you're just a bigot? Because that's not me. I hate being referred to as that. That's not who I am. If you, like I said, I just referred to an example where I would be interested in somebody who was in that category, but the fucking thing made sense. And like I said, it's any media. It's not just Star Wars. Any media where your fucking like identity or whoever is plastered above your head, it's annoying. It's just annoying, and I'm not interested in it. If that's your cup of tea, then I guess then I'm just getting old and outdated, because like I feel like there were movies before our time that didn't de-evolve to where I needed a, hey, my name is so-and-so before the story began. Like, you could tell a story and explain your character's arc over time, and that includes who you were, identity-wise.
Organically.
Yes. Like,
so it feels natural. Yeah, I mean, I there are some movies that I like where there's scenes that are cringy because it's just, here is the exposition. Let me tell you what is going on. It's like, but yeah, there's a much better way to tell a story than that.
Or hell, like, I think at one point in time they were hiring the Coruscant Guard for clone troopers. I remember making fan fiction back in my high school days. Now, keep in mind I was a high schooler, but I remember making like who people had recruit numbers for the Coruscant Guard. That could have been something. Like, but like once again, these are clone troopers. They're not like, I think 2% of these clones were sexually active or even needed to announce that sort of thing. Like, right. I know you don't have to be that like that in order to have a gender identity, but what I'm saying is, like, for it to be relevant in your story at all, there needs to be some sort of triumph or tribulation. And like I said, being afraid to be noticed, if you like having a Mulan sort of story, like where like it's like a thing where like only
men are allowed, and
because it's their clones and stuff. I get where they're going with it. I get where they're going with it, but like it's kind of a like once again, here's a excerpt from it. Anakin Skywalker references sister. What's your name, trooper? Sister. It's how my brothers tell everyone I belong. Belonging is important.
And knowing is half the battle.
And Anakin Skywalker coughs and walks away. Because I'm sorry, an acclimator's going down. Belonging's important. I gotta go save this. I gotta go. There's other things I gotta go focus on.
You go belong over there. I gotta save the galaxy here before I kill everyone.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta go. Where's your designation at? You can go belong with your designation right over there.
Like, well, wasn't there was a it's gonna go down the rabbit hole. But let me just I pretty much agree with what you're saying, but let me push back just a little bit. What about the people who say, well, okay, you're doing your escapist thing. Star Wars is for everyone. You know, it's not trying to be dated with, head ripped from the headlines stuff. But isn't this the proper place to do these side stories? Is in like a book or a comic or a
sure.
I don't. You're putting it off to the side. This isn't the main story, so like not everybody has to like fit this into their wide world of Star Wars. Or would you just say either tell the story right or just don't even bother? Like, don't waste my time.
Well, I feel like it's a good place to tell it. I just like once again, Siege of the Clone Troopers. I believe it's a book, right? Yeah, it's fully illustrated. I once again, to me, it's one of those things where I feel like this is a good place to express your media. I just at the same time, I don't know. I this is where that gets real deep because
Yeah. Vader would still.
it starts getting political, and this is why I say that
Yeah.
this stuff needs to be back ended because, like I said, I'm okay with whoever you are, like identity wise. In my entertainment, I don't truly like for real give a fuck at the end of the day. But if you want my personal opinion when it comes down to it, because like I said, Star Wars has been under scrutiny, and I have been one of those people scrutinizing Disney Star Wars because at the end of the day, the numbers show, and it's not toxic fans or whatever the fuck you want to believe. Go ahead and believe it. But it's been almost a decade now, and Disney hasn't completely produced a lot of things worth of fucking value for this franchise ever since it's been sold off.
Yeah.
Like
It's just
if they
excuses.
tried or if they actually put some work into it, they could be making probably twice or quadruple as much because they'd have the whole fan base like eating out of the palm of their hand. Like, and that's what I'm saying is they've donated their games to horrible studios. They've given their IPs to really weird people. Like, and that's what I'm saying is like it's all about looking good. And like I said, I'm sorry, but like that doesn't make you money. And like I don't know who the fuck's making these decisions at the end of the
No.
day, where all the fuck goes to besides Kathleen Kennedy, and like that's a whole nother line. But when it
Yeah.
comes down
I
to
don't
it,
know how
your
all that
kids,
ESG stuff works. Are they getting money
your
from other sources that are pressuring them into changing things?
and like I said, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I can't change that. But your kids read these books. Your kids watch that TV and stuff like that. And I feel like that sort of stuff is personal between a parent and their child, unless it's not appropriate. Like they're not handling it appropriately, then I don't know what's going on. Once again, I'm a father of four. I haven't run into that issue yet. When it does, I'll handle it how I need to handle it, how me and
Mhm.
my wife need to handle it. But once again, I don't know. I like I said, people are free to disagree with me on that sort of thing, but I don't need people putting in like subliminal messages or anything in their books other than the fact that you can do whatever you want, you can be whoever you want. If you have these sort of feelings, it's okay, whatever. That's fine. But like I don't need my I don't know 6-year-old walking up to me and asking me those sort of questions in the middle of dinner time. And that's what I'm saying. Is because right now at that sort of age, I don't think that that's appropriate at that age. Like you're like it's not the fact that sex is bad and stuff. I feel like that stuff should be introduced slowly and with care. Like so that people like you get a grasp on it. You're not traumatized, you're not messed up, you're not like asking those questions over and over again. And with like to speak on the other side, there are people out in the internet right now trying to mess with people doing that
Mhm.
and causing more trauma and like weird shit. Like
People
it's
are impressionable.
this isn't a smooth transition for people going through those stages of grief or that confusion or stuff like that. There are people who don't actually feel those feelings or being told they feel those feelings who have to go out and they're buying like hormone and estrogen and all that crap like that because they're being told by people on weird websites and stuff like that. And it really is a political front here in the US. I don't know if it is anywhere else, but it's awful. And it's the fact that who you want to be isn't awful. It's the fact that there are people taking advantage of it. And that's why I'm saying, like right now, if it's a book or a TV show or whatever, this reading age is 8+ years. So to me, my kids aren't going to read it until they get older if they want
Yeah.
to read that. And that's at the end of the day. If you are plastering your gender identity on top of your head like that, that's just me. That's just me because at the end of the day, unless my kids walking up to me asking me those questions because that's who they are and that's how they feel, without any third party interference, then whatever. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that. Our family's comfortable with that. We don't restrict anything here, and that's how I keep it. But like once again, that has to come from them, right? Because that's how it's being broadcasted, right? So, but like I said, I don't mean to get too serious, but at the end of the day, if people are gonna blame me for anything, it's probably gonna be my kids. But that's another thing that I put on Disney is the fact that this is a family company, and it's not really pornography, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's kind of like a teenage theme that it's discovering yourself, right?
More
It's
of a mature
discovering.
theme.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's discovering who you are. It's discovering yourself. My 8-year-old more into the hero saving the day, or kind of getting into those coming of age sort of stories. I don't, you know, I don't know
Yeah. Well,
where the I don't know who I am or didn't know who I was until I became this person sort of story. I don't know where that goes. Like I said, this is a very new boundary. Like I said, it's okay for people who have realized that, have overcome it, have gone down that path. I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that.
don't
But
let
like,
it be
and
a psychological thing to
yeah,
mess with
and
people.
so
I just think of all the people online that get sucked into like weird I don't know, you call it like a cult or something, or a
well, yeah,
manipulation
and
thing.
that's what
It's
they
like,
and like I said, a lot of people are ignorant to that, and they get like really upset. And like I said, I have been personally yelled at, and like it's really funny because I've been to support groups and I've supported people who have tried to go through that change. Like when I was a teenager and stuff like that, I've backed a lot of people up on that. Like and I'm not trying to like boost my ego or anything, but that's the thing is like when I address something like that as an issue, it's because it's an issue. It's because it's an issue I have a problem with. It's not because I hate who you are. It's not because I hate trans people. It's not because I hate the demographic
well,
of
but the,
of people based
but
on
see
race.
that
I feel like that's an excuse being used
it is an
as a
excuse. Yeah.
front. And like that you want to talk about being offended, man. That's something that personally puts me in a corner, like because that's not who I am. And that's that might be
Well,
some people, but
I say
it's
don't apologize, because I feel like people use it as a weapon. Say like, well, oh, you think my fiction sucks because it does? No, no, that's just because you're a bigot. You're a hater. You must hate people. It's like, no, you just can't tell a story to save your life, and you hide behind these excuses and political slogans and things like that. I don't think Disney really cares about any of this stuff.
no.
I
But
mean,
I would
and I
at
don't
least
think,
think they would want to have like money. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
So
the money is
they think,
where this is. Who knows? I don't know.
yeah, if they think this is going to score them some points with some investors, or some activists will praise them, they'll do it. But then, yeah, they go to some other country where this stuff is taboo, they remove it, and then they keep that audience happy. So
Yeah, and that's what
it's
I'm saying. Is
it's
like they're supposed to be a
very
family
insidious.
company, but this stuff
So
is removed anywhere else. So
don't attack other fans because they are weirded out by this stuff. Go after the company, because they don't have your best interests at heart. They do not.
there's a better way to tell this story. There's a much better way to tell
Yeah,
this story
you tell it.
by having diversity, inclusion, and all that stuff. Because like at the end of the day, those people should be getting recognized. But like I said, this is escapist media. This isn't like I don't need to like if you're really having that hard time separating reality from fiction, it's you probably shouldn't be writing these
Yeah.
books or
Well, yeah, that whole
directing the movie or
I can see myself on screen in this story. That's a kid mentality. That's like, I'm 8 years old. The quest for identity. It's like, oh, I want to see this hero. But as a grown up, if you're still feeling that way, I feel like maybe there's a problem. Maybe you have to work some things out. Uh, Bohemius, yeah, yeah. So, and when I talk about cults, I'm not like insulting somebody's religion. I'm saying it's like, it's people have this idea that it's like, we have this group, and you have to believe exactly what we believe, or we're going to destroy you. Like, and you
oh no,
can't.
there
That
was like a
mentality.
Discord cult with it where like one lady was like leading people like young kids in there and like telling them how to make bathtub hormones and stuff like that, and like it's illegal. That's very illegal, and like
I think I heard about this.
she got
Yeah,
away
that's
from it and like ended up wiping the slate clean, but like nothing ever came of it. But like people hate that person now, but she was an activist for rights of that sort of like that sort of thing, and that's what I'm saying is like it's not the act of diversity inclusion that I don't like. It's the fact that people think that there are no bad apples on that side of the tree, and there are. And that's what I'm saying is like we have to
well, there's no
look at your
boundaries.
media. You have to look at your media. Just because it's stating diversity inclusion doesn't mean it's good media. It doesn't mean that
Well,
it's great media. It doesn't mean that it checks off all those boxes that Disney wants.
I
It
let me compare it to something. This was several years back to help put it into perspective if people aren't getting where we're coming from. There's this concept, you may have heard of it. It's called greenwashing. Maybe nobody talks about this anymore, but corporations back in the day notorious for polluting, right? This industry, it's inevitable, it happens. But a lot of these companies would get away with just mass pollution, waste, destruction, all this stuff. But they wanted to clean up their image, so they would get together with I don't know, think tanks and various people to try to create this image that they were like environmentally like conscious, that they were protecting the planet, that they were helping, and everything was like recyclable and everything was like carbon neutral and all this stuff. And they would put these labels on things and certified by this particular group. And there was this book called Greenwashing, and I'm not saying it was perfect, but they basically investigated some of this stuff and it was like it's completely fake, like it's just a front, like they're not actually helping. It's just just like an
you mean
image
like
thing.
Kermit the Frog? Like, don't dump in your lake.
It's not easy being green.
Don't
Well,
put
but I
your
mean,
batteries in your lake.
and see, people would confuse that sort of fake surface level, like social consciousness coming from these big souls corporations. It's just a marketing thing. They would confuse that with the concept itself. So it's like, I feel good because I want to save the planet. So I'm going to buy product X that says it's environmentally friendly. And I don't know any better. But I feel like I'm doing a good deed because I'm buying it. And so it's like the whole thing is sucking you in. So this other stuff that they're talking about, it's like the same thing. It's just another area of human life. So just look below the surface, see that a lot of these groups are out to manipulate you. And yeah, there are bad apples. There's people that they're so convinced they're right. It's like they can do anything. Like there's no boundaries. There's nothing. And it's like it could be very, very dangerous if you're that zealous for the thing. Yeah. So
At the
don't
end of
look
the
up
day,
Bull 34. Don't look it up.
no, we're not. We're not endorsing
You
that.
value
So
your you value your sanity.
if you like your eyes,
Yeah.
don't do that. Um,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, um, if this keeps up, right, I'm probably gonna get rid of Disney Plus. Probably not gonna be a Disney Plus user. Um,
Physical media.
my kids can go. Well, we have physical media for DVDs and stuff, but like at the end of the day, we
Yeah.
can always go to our friend's house to watch those cartoons and stuff. My kids also have a plethora of other things to do. Like I said, hate to be that guy, but like I don't particularly like. And the topic aside, right? Just in general, I don't like where Disney's going. I haven't the last 5 years. Um, I think it's they're kind of going into the like we'll appease whoever whatever is being said with whoever. And at the end of the day, man, you kind of just need to not pick a side, but you need to stick to a conviction. You're a big company. Um, Playing this route is very noticeable. It's your pants are down at this point. Um,
Yep.
Quit walking around like that because it's embarrassing. And you know,
Embarrassing yourself.
quit
Yeah.
paying people to not notice that your pants are down. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't know if they're losing money. I can't tell because like they make so
Well,
much shit and they make so much money back that like at the end of the day, I don't know.
supposedly supposedly a lot of these companies are firing their diversity officers, but I don't know. I mean, because you could say, well, maybe that's not really what's happening. That's just people reporting
No, because they
certain.
still they still have a check mark. Like really, hold on. Why did Disney? Let's see.
Because I mean, people have been talking about Kathleen Kennedy being fired for like 10 years now.
Well,
She's not
we already
gonna
discussed
retire
that.
until she gets a big hit. Yeah. So sometimes you'll hear stuff online and there's nothing to it. But yeah, it ain't easy being cheesy.
Trying to find it.
Yeah. When I
But
was
like
talking about
literally,
Star Trek,
there was literally a whiteboard like thing where they had like what to put on the next IPs or what they would do for the next IPs, and like
these are the things
it
that
was
have to be
it was
included.
literally a checklist with a possibility checklist next to it, like saying like, you know, what should you have with the next hero? Hero turns anti-hero, dinosaurs, stuff like that. I was like, dinosaurs?
It's like a parody of itself. You gotta
But like
tell them. You gotta warn them.
you literally get stuff like this. I don't know, like something like you know, you get like a diversity checklist, and it's embarrassing. It's
That blatant.
it's super embarrassing because like because like when you revert to checklists, it's not like I can even be okay with a checklist as long as you reverse to it as a baseline. But they use it and they just mark off. They're just like throw ideas at us. Come on, throw ideas at us. Okay, well this person is you know, gay, but they have an issue with this and they've been hiding it. Okay, check mark. Let's go. Like it has to include these sort of topics nowadays because we're in this time period. So come on, let's go. Just throw topics at me. And
Dinosaurs.
dinosaurs, like, and like really, like, are you even making a movie anymore? Like, what the fuck? Like you're literally, you might as well just spit that shit into an AI algorithm and have it play a movie for you. Like it gets really bad, like, because there are people that work hard for a lot of your stuff. And Disney, like I said before, I've said this many times before, Disney doesn't make bad, like there's very few bad uh animations that they're behind, because a lot of the animation studios that they run usually get the freedom to put stuff in there, and they have a lot of diverse, strong characters, female characters, male characters, diverse characters, characters with issues, disabilities, problems, stuff like that, and they overcome them, and they are put in the background so that kids aren't too overwhelmed or thrown off. And it's, you know, no, they're not. But
Jurassic Park always comes in, but that's what we're talking about. That we're
but that's what
talking
I'm saying.
about.
Like
They have
cultural
this
diversity.
great idea, and then they're gonna let
Encanto,
it.
you have Coco, Moana, like stuff like that. Like, and that's what I'm saying is like, I'm not just dissing Disney because of Star Wars. I'm saying they have a good side, stuff that they make money off of. Look really good. What was it? That they just saw it. They just saw it. Hold on. I need to be more prepared for these.
We need Ian Malcolm in here.
Inside Out, like Inside Out 1 and 2 were both great. I enjoyed those. Like, why? Because I got to see them with my daughter, and like they were both explaining. They were both explaining coming of age, and they're both coming of age. Turning Red, great movie. Had a slight mature like backstory to it, but it wasn't so bad and so blatant over the head that you couldn't like not bring your kids to it. And that's what I'm saying is like stuff like that. Like, you know, the only one I thought was bad was the new Toy Story, like the fourth one, because once again that one seemed a little shoehorned. And that's what I'm saying. It's like
the Lightyear one where he was real. He wasn't a toy.
No, it was the one with like G.I. Joe, Bo Peep.
Oh, see, I saw the first Toy Story.
So, and that's the one that like just drove me nuts. What if Disney made Jurassic Park? I bet Lex would jump kick a Velociraptor in the head and become the princess of Isla Nublar. What the fuck? What?
Buy that for $1. See, if a fan created that, I would love it. But if it was an official product, I would hate it. That's just how I am. I'd be like, no, you and I done professionally.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is like my daughter loves these movies, and like that's what I'm saying. Is like they're all pretty good, but like Star Wars,
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
it's.
I mean,
eh,
you can be I don't have any kids, but I could just imagine you can be a parent to your kids. You watch the Tom and Jerry and you say, now, I know we've enjoyed this cartoon, but don't actually chase your brother with an axe,
No,
even though
it's
you saw it in
like
the cartoon.
but it doesn't have anything like that. But like there's like a like with the Inside Out and stuff, there's like relatable stuff to both the kids and the adults. Like there's it's like all about the emotions that live inside your body and stuff. So like they all like they all control there's like the stuff that goes
Personified.
on in there. And um there's like a scene with the dad, like she brings like a guy home, the dad's like all protective, like the emotions are arguing inside. Like it's fun stuff like that, man. Like stuff that gives you like a chuckle because the adults are kind of chuckling, the kids are having a laugh,
One for the
and
whole
like
family.
yeah, man. That's to me
That's how it used to be.
that's Disney.
Family
It's like
entertainment.
it's
Yeah.
it's pure family entertainment. I don't think Star Wars fits
Not
that persona as much, but like if it needs to be, they're taking it in a way wrong direction.
Yeah, they
And
don't have
that's what I'm
Star
saying.
Wars for toddlers.
They do,
Yeah, it's
actually. It's called Young
if,
Jedis.
oh dang. I'm sorry.
Remember, we brought this up before.
I erased it from my memory banks. I didn't want to believe it. Man.
It's actually in the canon now. I think it's
Oh.
pre-episode 1 during the High Republic.
I mean, we had the Ewok adventures, but I mean, at least we had Wilford Brimley to kind of bring us back down to earth. But I mean, he never once brought up diabetes in the
I haven't
story.
checked the Star Wars canon in a long time, so let's see what
Yeah.
Wikipedia has to say.
We will consult the great Wikipedia.
So they replaced my entire chronology with all the way back to 25,000 before the Battle of Yavin. So they've made books for that. It looks
But
like.
that's what the modern Ewok adventure would be like. Wilford Brimley would like look directly into the camera and he would say, "I have diabetes," and he would talk about it for like a long, extended period of time. Every time characters run into him, he would like lecture them about it, and then they would sell Liberty Mutual supplies at
Oh
the end.
God, fuck, man! All this is Galaxy's Edge shit. Myths and fables, and dark legends. That's so all the stuff that predates the hyperspace war is stuff that you'd find in Galaxy's Edge. That's another thing. It's just a fucking money making scheme. You can't
Yeah.
ever buy this shit at like the fucking bookstore. You have to go and spend your $1,000 at the theme park and ugh, makes me like want to vomit. Then you got your High Republic books and High Republic Adventures. Good lord. There's so many High Republic books, bro. So many of them.
Yeah, just thinking of the career of Wilford Brimley. He was awesome. Because
uh,
he looked old like before he was old, so he got those roles.
oh, here. Sorry, this is one. Just so this is what Disney's created all the way. So you've got comics, short stories. So these are short stories. Not yet released is the F. So comics for the High Republic, short stories. All these say they're all available at Galaxy's Edge. So if you wanted to learn the beginning, the very beginning, you got to pay for it.
Man, if we're lucky, we'll all look like Wilford Brimley.
Man, what is this talk about Brimley, man?
It's the right thing to do. Yeah.
You wish you had the
Well,
height and girth of Brimley.
he was. I mean, he spanned such a breadth of stuff. He was like the Kevin Bacon of that era. He was in
Since we're
Cocoon. He was in The Thing. He was in Ewok's Battle for Endor. He was in those
since you guys
commercials.
are completely like
tuned out.
avoiding the topic. Yeah, you're so fucking tuned
No.
out. On.
He's well, okay, fine. He's Legends now. You happy? Like, no, he'll always be canon. He and B. Arthur are part of Star Wars
That's
as far as
never gonna happen, Bohemius. I mean, I stopped caring a long time ago, but that doesn't mean I don't talk about it. Because if I stop talking about it and I give up, then they've won.
Oh, but look at the
So,
second half of his sentence. Just cherish the part of Star Wars you loved. That I can get behind.
but that's what I'm saying is I've already done that. Like the shit in the back, that's the stuff that I care
They
about,
can't.
right?
They can't touch my Star Wars
I
because it's
feel
already in my heart.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's Empire talk, Bohemius.
You're beginning to sound like a separatist. See, it's like even the worst lines from the prequels like are so quotable. So I can't stay mad. I can't stay
Empire
mad.
talk.
Yeah, there's not
Just
coming back.
Well, just because it may never happen doesn't mean that I'm not going to disagree with it. And I'm always going to disagree with that. I always have stuff to say. If, like I said, I'm pretty sure Kurgan will always have stuff to say about HeroQuest. That's the whole point that we have this podcast. If I didn't have like the freedom of speech that I did to talk crap about Star Wars, then man, my life would be incomplete.
Yeah, all day long it'd just be burning me up inside. Like, oh, I gotta say this about Chewbacca. Ah!
Fight for the things you love. Fight for the IPs that you enjoy. Because if you just stand back and say, well, they're never coming back, then man, I might as well go burn that shit in the backyard.
Or you just say it's trash, it's not real, so it doesn't matter. Stories matter. You know, entertainment. I mean, yes, people talk about throwaway entertainment. It's not supposed to be just slop, garbage.
Oh, but on that hand, Bohemius, I do. Like when I'm not here, you guys catch me on the RantCast, man. That's just all my negative energy, right?
Yeah, you're only seeing one side of it. The rest of the time we're happy-go-lucky.
If you watch my KOTOR streams and stuff, man, I'm grinning from ear to ear. A lot of it's like there's parts that I'm like there's time that I take away from all this stuff where I'm not just sitting here complaining about Star Wars day in and day out. I give one 2 to 3 hour segment where I vent my grief, and I do a little bit of research because for podcast reasons, but like I don't hate it. But that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing. I'm going to share that stuff with those new people.
Yeah. Well, and as Doug Hopkins shared in his thing about HeroQuest, these are insights. So if the stuff that you're saying, they hear that once, they hear that twice, they hear somebody else saying it, that's an insight. It's like, oh, this is what the fans are saying. I wonder, how we should respond to this. This is going to inform our projects. So if other franchises are like that, I mean, you could say Avalon Hill's small. They have a small team.
That's going to be the new segment to the RantCast now. I'm 32 years old. My opinions are just outdated because I'm old. And now that I'm old, I hate everything.
Only toddlers matter.
I hate everything. Everything's hated.
Hate it. Hate it all.
And I feel like I have dogged a lot on Disney, but there has been a couple of RantCasts where I have, and you can even ask Kurgan about this when we were talking about Andor and stuff, like not just Andor in general, but like around the time it was coming out when I was skeptical about that, I did defend Disney and a lot of their a lot of the shows and series and stuff. So this is the only time I'm gonna bitch about them. There might be a time when they come out with something good.
We're going through a dry spell, I feel like, with entertainment. I mean, we had that glut of stuff that was coming out before COVID, and we had a big just meltdown with
I hate you so much, Ruby. I do that so much. I do that so much, dude. It's so bad. Because I travel all the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's definitely entertainment from like 2009, 10, 11 that I really, really like games and stuff. But when it comes to like TV shows and movies since then, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to think hard.
There's stuff I enjoy now. I'm
45.
There's new stuff that's come out that I enjoy.
Yeah. I'm not automatically like, oh, it sucks. It's just that so much of the entertainment that I'm drawn to is franchises I already know. So I already have a firm opinion about it. And it's like they mess with it. And it's like, what are you doing? Whereas it's much easier for me to reach out and look at something that's completely new and say, oh, I can just judge that on its own merits. I'm not going to compare it to the other 15 Star Wars movies before it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're going to make a movie about Captain Picard. Great. Why are you making him all weird and like not not the Captain Picard I was wanting to see? Like that's the problem, I think. And yes, if you're brand new, but if you're a young person that's coming to a franchise right now and you don't know all the stuff in the past, okay, sure, you're going to have a different perspective. But at some point, you may go back and you're going to go, wait a minute, why did it change? Maybe I like this old stuff better. Like it does happen.
But
So, yeah, it's the old saw Hollywood's out of ideas. But no, it's they're afraid to take risks. And there's
do you
just too much
guys
money involved.
do you guys remember? This is a great example. This is a really great example, though, Bohemians,
I like
of
Ruby's
how
state.
when enough people speak out, shit changes. Do you guys remember
Yeah.
the original Sonic for the movie?
Yep.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And how that got
Weird.
changed.
His weird teeth.
This people just bitched about it day in and day out, and then they
and
were going to vote with their wallet.
Didn't they write articles saying these are toxic fans, like destroying the creative vision of these?
And the change was good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ruby's. The change
they made tons of money. Same thing.
It was so good. They even gave an homage to the old Sonic for Chip and Dale's. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like there were no bad feelings to that. They spent so much money on reshoots. They brought Carrie back, brought all those people, and it worked. They're on like the third Sonic now.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah, sometimes it works. So it's not that, because I remember with the Snyder Cut, with the Justice League, people were saying, like, there were articles saying, oh, this is studios giving in to toxic fans. They shouldn't have listened. What about the artist that, Joss Whedon, he did his best to like make the movie and you're going to crap on him. And it's just like, but it's not true. It's the whole point of these projects is to make money, right? That's why the corporations make them. We, the customers, go to see them because we want to be entertained. If we're not entertained, we're going to be pissed because we wasted our time. So if we complain and you give us what we want and we spend the money and you get rich, who lost out on that? Nobody. The person wants to write an annoying article and say, "Oh, they compromised artistic vision." It's like you don't even understand what the whole point of this is. Like you sound so clueless when you write articles like that. So yeah, I mean, I guess the Cats movie, they edited it after the fact. Like it was in theaters and people were noticing like the special effects for like the hands were wrong, and there was a whole thing about the buttholes on the cats were removed, and there's all this weird stuff. But I think that was a case of it was a flop already. There was no saving it.
So,
but yeah, Sonic, they caught it early enough that what could have been a disaster ended up being a smashing success. So who lost?
To reply to Bohemians here, and like I said, you're not wrong, right? You don't want to bitch about some stuff so much that you suffer. You don't suffer through stuff like this. If I have a problem with something, I'm going to state it, right? A lot of this stuff's coming out over and over and over again. I'm stating my dissatisfaction with something. This doesn't ruin my day. I may make it sound like it ruins my day. This is the RantCast. We take me and Kurgan talked about this is like stuff that literally irks our nerves, right? A lot of what you're saying, I have done or probably still do. I vote with my wallet a lot of the time. So even if I want to try something out, like I was going to bring up Silent Hill 2 today. Like I've had a hate boner for Konami for such a long time. You want to talk about things that you need to tell me to calm down with? That's one company I told myself I'd never buy another game from because they have had such a history of sexual misconduct allegations. They've ruined two of my favorite video game franchises, the Metal Gear franchise and Silent Hill. They've trashed a lot of things, and they just go to gambling. Like that's it. They came back to the video game industry for a while. They gave Silent Hill to another really crappy developer, the Bloober team, and um, that was that was it. Like, they just told me to take the chance. I saw some gameplay. I made the decision for myself. I spent $70, my own money. I usually don't do that. So, I didn't do that with Outlaws. I didn't do anything. I got a free copy of Outlaws. So that's what I'm saying is, like, I made a good risk, and it's been a really great game. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I enjoyed that. Now, a lot of the time, I'd probably have an issue with anything else that would be Konami, but like, I don't bring them up all the time. Star Wars is has been a passion project for me since I've been growing up. It's something that I enjoy or love. The fact that it's going downhill, I don't particularly like it. I'm going to express my dissatisfaction for it. It's going to happen. It's part of the podcast. That's what me and Karina talked about. It's stuff that's going on in Star Wars. Before this whole thing started taking place, we do Star Wars talk a lot, I think, in the earlier podcasts, but like, it was like upcoming movies and how we thought they were going to be, upcoming shows.
Oh, yeah.
Now Disney's kind of changed their rhythm a little bit, and it's I don't think it's for the better. Like I said, but that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying the things I have. Like I said, KOTOR and KOTOR 2 are still my favorite games of all time. They're literally my favorite RPGs of all time. And that stands above a lot of other classic RPGs. They're the ones that I have on my phone. They're the ones I enjoy and stuff like that.
I haven't played KOTOR, but I've watched you play it enough that I think those are quality
and
games.
Like, even with the mods and stuff like that installed, like the stuff that helps fill out the content, I think it's amazing. But at the end of the day, man, if I'm a firm believer that no matter where you are in the world, if you are dissatisfied with something and a company still continues to ream you sideways on it, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, right? You should be able to speak your mind. That's the greatest part about it.
Wouldn't you want the product to be better? Wouldn't you want it to be a product that you actually want to buy, as opposed to one that you buy it out of obligation because it's the only thing that you got?
Well, and you know what? That sucks. I mean, I don't know what to say there, man. Other than the fact that, like, because I've never been there, but I've being a businessman myself, right? I'm never a huge businessman. I didn't own a Fortune 500 company or anything, but I took enough classes and stuff to know that if, like, somebody's dissatisfied with your shit, if you have multiple demographics, if you're working with multiple demographics and somebody's dissatisfied with your shit, there is a way to alter that. Companies do end up losing sight of that. And the biggest thing is, if you are displaying dissatisfaction and that doesn't work, the next best thing is to vote with your wallet. There's so much entertainment medium in this world that if I really don't like it, I'm going to do exactly what you just said. I'm going to go back. I'm going to enjoy the shit that I have. I just got done playing today Dark Forces. Right?
Oh, man. You went back.
Yeah, I went back to just playing Dark Forces. Any new
Remaster,
Star Wars game that's coming out, I will probably not pay money for it until I officially know, either on YouTube, however I find out, I will probably watch it first. Now, I am no longer a firm believer in those video games anymore. So,
yeah.
So, and that's what I'm saying is, like, voting with my wallet, man. Streamers no longer officially pay for the pockets of big businesses since they give out keys. So unless that stops with Star Wars games, they're losing money. So and that's what I'm saying is, like, it's enough for me to just, if I don't like it or I don't think it's going to be good, I won't buy it. My collection's fulfilled back there. I'm collecting the Dark Empire books again, or is it Dark Empire comics? Yeah.
Dark Horse comics, yeah.
But
Dark Empire, yeah.
I'm sorting them out. They're just super expensive.
Yeah.
Especially trying to find them.
I wish they'd go. I know it's the ship has sailed on these, but for a while Marvel was releasing these digital, like, DVD sets where it was just like, 40 years of X-Men, 40 years of the Fantastic Four, and they were like great quality. You could print them out. But then they realized, we can make more money just like putting it on an app and charging you a subscription fee. for it.
Go play Warhammer Online together. Yeah, Dark Empire right now, I can get the whole batch right now for $40.
Is it Vermintide that was free? I've got that game. And I mean, the Space Marine game looks kind of cool. But yeah, Warhammer Online, I don't know. I've always shied away from those MMORPGs because of the subscription.
Yo, Kurgan, you want a True Tales of the Clone Troopers?
We could stream together. We could all play.
This is a good one. What year was this? I think this was an old one.
But
$10.
I want to second something you said earlier. So if somebody just watched the Rantcast, they might think, yeah, we just hate everything. We're grumpy old men. But this is cathartic for us. Like we have the stuff that we like. We enjoy it. We enjoy life. We have fun. It's not like, oh, it's time for entertainment. I'm just so pissed off. This is just letting it out. And yes, complaining fans have accomplished a lot. If you look at HeroQuest front and center, I mean, the fans complain, they make the change, it ends up improved. Like we've seen that over and over again, not just with the cover of First Light. So sometimes it can work. It's not just shooting into the void. But I feel like with Star Wars, a lot of the problems have been just, people complain and they don't listen, and they double down, and they antagonize the fans. And it's like, yeah, you just have to know, because if you've got millions and millions of customers, you're going to have some people that are always upset and never satisfied. Okay, you can ignore them. You got the super fans who will defend anything you do, no matter how stupid. Ignore them. You focus on the quote unquote normal people in the middle that are actually, have legitimate concerns. And there's a give and take. Just like George Lucas, like he wanted to do whatever he wanted, but he realized, okay, I still have some obligation to my audience. Some obligation to the art that I've already created. I hate it, but it works best when I kind of stay in that little area. Because he compromised on stuff. I mean, you look at the change from episode 1 to episode 2. I mean, he listened. Episode 3, he listened. It wasn't the same story that it could have been if nobody had just said a thing and he had just gone through and had no naysayers, no critics. Vermintide, yeah. Well, I watched some video. I think I may have watched you play it actually. Didn't you have a stream of Vermintide, or there was some Warhammer thing that you played?
Yeah, I played the earlier one. I don't know if it's Vermintide, but I played.
But I saw it was free on Steam, and so I got it.
Oh, you did? We could probably play it now. Yeah, because I have Warhammer Behemoths. I don't think I have the new one, not Vermintide, but
I mean, my Steam collection absolutely pales in comparison to yours.
Or is Darktide the new one? I can't remember. I think I have Vermintide. If it's Vermintide, the one, the first one, then yeah.
Yeah. I don't have anywhere near the number of Steam games that you have, but yeah, a lot of these games are games that would just sit on my shelf and never get played unless I played it with someone. Like that would be great on a stream. It's just our schedules are different sometimes.
There's a free. Remember I was talking to you about Dark and Darker for like kind of like those dungeon. It's kind of similar to like HeroQuest or something. It's like kind of like a dungeon crawler game. Dungeonborn and Dark and Darker are free to play, and they are great games. So you can download this on Steam. Yeah, and I've been looking for people to play with. So.
Oh man, Dark and Darker. This looks like Thief. It really does. It's the first thing I thought of. It looks like Thief the Dark Project, but it's multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We can do that right now.
Oh man.
And Dungeonborn.
Right at the
Dark and Darker and Dungeonborn. They're both the same type of games. They're just different looking.
Oh man, you got to prepare me for this. Yeah, so one of these times we got to go after those taffers.
But they're online, and like what you do is you're put into a dungeon. It's kind of similar to like what kind of like PUBG, or what's the other one?
Smash and grab.
Fortnite.
Oh,
Yeah, because like the map kind of closes in because they call it like the darkness or something. It, like seeps in.
I
So what
attack
you
the
do is
dark.
you attack mobs. You attack mobs or you get chests, loot chests. Some of the chests have traps in them, but you'll get loot like new armor, swords, whatever, health, and you have to find a portal or a way out of the dungeon before the dungeon swallows you up. And if you die, you lose everything.
Early access game.
Yeah.
So it's a free early access game. Okay.
So and that's the concept is like literally.
Dark
So
and Darker,
if you
and
die,
what was
then
the other one? What was the other one called?
Dungeonborn.
Dungeonborn. Matt Damon is Dungeonborn.
Yep.
Gonna like fill up this hard drive. Let's get another one. First person PvP PPE EEP game. Okay. All right. Cutscene. Yeah, this looks like it could be the sort of thing that I would enjoy. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Another early access game. Okay. Just give them all my personal information.
All of your personal information.
No.
Give them all the personal information.
Now, what's the worst that could happen?
Nothing.
No.
Nope.
No data breaches. Yeah, I get a lot of spam these days, and I don't know if it's because of my streaming or just my data is getting crawled more. I guess I did go back on Facebook briefly, so that's probably what happened. Probably just scraped all my data again. Jerks.
Yep. That's it.
Well, at least I'll never have to worry about that male enhancement problem. Oops, said that out loud.
Oopsies.
Kidding. Don't do it.
Don't do what? Your male
Don't.
enhancement problem?
Yeah, don't do it.
Oh.
The time is right for a bit of burglary. Man, Thief: The Dark Project. What a fun game. It's like that
Definitely.
and Deus Ex. Like they were just gems. Just thinking about those kind of games coming out at the time they did, it was just perfect. Yeah. Now we take it for granted, I suppose, but and people have made mods for them to like really enhance the whole experience. Yeah. You did a stream on Thief, and I think I went out
I
and bought it.
did, and
Yeah.
it was a very long time ago.
The thing
Very long
is,
time
it's
ago.
funny because I bought it on Steam, then I found my old CD from the back in the day, the CD pack, Thief Gold, and then I saw it at a thrift store and I bought it again. So that's how crazy I am. That's like with Outlaws, not Star Wars Outlaws, LucasArts Outlaws. I ordered the CD, and while I was waiting for it to arrive, I bought it on Steam because I couldn't wait to play it. And it was just like, yeah, once you find a game like that, you can just dive in and just it's just gaming bliss. And you can put it away on the shelf and you can pick it up again whenever you want. None of this, oh, it's been delisted. It's not cool anymore.
Hey, there's a website where you can pick up delisted Steam games.
Oh, that is great news.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to track that down because there's a few games that I'm disappointed on.
So I found this on the web, and I thought people should like this. In case you haven't seen the new Beetlejuice movie, but not a sponsor. Just I just like the fact that Michael Keaton is constantly itching his crotch while
You liked that movie, didn't you?
yeah.
Sorry, I said it like accusatory. You
You liked
liked
it.
it, didn't you?
You like it,
You
don't you?
liked You want more of it, don't you?
Nice fucking model, huh?
Honk honk. Yep. Okay, I'm starting to get a little weirded out. I don't know. It's starting to grow on me.
Is it starting to
Okay,
grow on
turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off to my eyes. Sorry.
Eyes are getting blinded.
Yeah.
Are you sure? It's like a train wreck. Just can't stop
It's like
looking.
it's like 10 hours. It's like, oh man, could you make it 20 hours? I have to hit play again at the end.
It's just,
Kind of annoying.
just constant honks. Honk, 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 honk,
Guy
honk.
crashes out on the steering wheel. Column. It's just like, oh, okay, man. See, now it's just going to be worse. It's going to be itchier than it was before. My
Gonna have to
cookie.
keep itching it.
Yep. It's got that itch. You got to scratch it. Oh man.
Indeed.
Well,
if you haven't seen everything, now you just saw Michael Keaton cranking his horn for about a minute and a half. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. You got paid a lot of money. You earned every penny. Nah, Beetlejuice. Can't wait for the sequel, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Unfortunately, Michael Keaton will not be there because he's like almost 80 years old. So,
well, unless he sells his likeness and they do CGI, AI. Hate to say it. I shouldn't say that. Now someone's gonna do it. Yeah. Just let it die. Just you made your movie, and then just let people make fan fiction about it forever. That's fine.
forever.
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 The Sandlot, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. I still sometimes get The Sandlot and The Goonies confused, even though they're completely different
Really?
films.
I was gonna say those are
Yeah,
like way different movies, brother.
way different. But I guess I approached them the same way, and it was just like, oh yeah, it's this one. No, it's the other one, isn't it? Yep. Hey, you guys.
Well, I don't have
Both
anything
both
more, I
worth
don't
watching.
think, as far
Yeah.
as topics. I think I've pretty much given my
Oh,
all.
they're still proofreading SueQuest.
Oh yeah.
So the people who are the people who are still pissed at the SueQuest guy are this is not going to change their mind, but there's a guy on YouTube and his name is
SueQuest
it's
man.
probably SueQuest. Sorry, SueQuest man. Um, he's proofreading the English version of SueQuest. So it's already released in Spain. And why does anybody care? Well, I think it's interesting. I think if it actually came out, I might get it. I know some people would say don't support this guy. He didn't pay the people when he was supposed to, and whatever. But I mean, everybody makes their choice there. But yeah, so he just made a video, and yeah, I can't find it now. But if you go onto YouTube and you search for SueQuest, TSEUQUEST, he just says like update, like SueQuest English update, and he just like, yeah, I'm proofreading all the cards and all the stuff, and then he's communicating with the people over email, and it doesn't look like a very efficient system. It looks like it's taken a long time, but I suppose they're working on it. They're paying this guy to like proofread all their stuff for the translation. So whenever it comes out, it'll come out. So for $110 or whatever they're asking for it, I mean, maybe. To me, it just looks like a very more hobby gamer version of what HeroQuest could have been at the time of the remake. But as we've covered in other RantCasts, it's like a throwback because it's like 2014, a 2014 dungeon crawler. But we've already got official HeroQuest, so if if they never make it, you've already got a pretty good thing going. So
And if
I
you
don't think
still don't
Hasbro is
like to make it, at least you
worried.
can see on
Yeah.
YouTube Beetlejuice cranking his horn for 3 minutes.
Yep. You put that on a loop and just enjoy your day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keeping them
So
awake.
I'm probably going to be out trick or treating on Halloween night, so I won't be doing a spook quest or whatever. But actually, on that Friday, so the November 1st, I might be doing a guest stream, a
Maybe.
HeroQuest guest stream. Yeah. So we'll see if that happens. I think that'd be pretty cool. So we might get the 3D board out again, play some interesting little side quest or something if we can. But we'll try to keep
Might
you
have to try
updated.
and show up or at least pop in.
Yeah, man. Well, in the past, I've done like the game book readings, like we did our Spooptober. That was pretty fun. I don't know what your plans are, but we could
Well, I
always.
tried to get Boo Fest going, but I'm having some trouble with time and scheduling. So it's kind of one
Yeah,
of those things where maybe for now I'm just running the podcast. So which
yeah,
is fine by me. But
yeah.
trying to get in contact with I usually do the the anthology series. What was it called? Dark Pictures. I usually do Dark Picture. I'm getting tired. Trying to do Dark Pictures anthology with King Duart. So um, I'm still waiting on him. But other than that,
Yeah. Those
we're
were
on game 4 now. So
those ghost hunter type games.
they're
Is that?
the spoopy games, the spoopy press
I
button to
enjoyed those.
move games. But we complete the whole game in one sitting, and that's so it's like a 6 hour stream, 6 to 8
Yeah.
hour stream. Yeah, we'll sit there and we'll play the whole game. So we already have a couple on YouTube already. So if you want to see the last couple Boo Fest we did, we did the first 3 games, and
See, that's
yeah,
like
so
it's like when back when it was the Sci-Fi Channel, they used to have these. I think it was around New Year's. They would have these marathons of the Twilight Zone just on a loop, just like all night long.
mhm.
And I mean, I wouldn't sit there and watch it all, but I mean, I turn it on, watch a little bit, or you're talking to somebody and, oh, let's just watch an episode. And then you go back to whatever you're doing. It's like, that's what I like about those streams. I mean, you guys are actually in it and you're cranking away at it, but yeah, just, I got to be careful if I'm going to do like a stream that long. I would die.
Indeed.
I would
So
die.
yeah, like I said, it's not too crazy, but like so, if you saw our last one,
Oh, oh no, that's a great question. That's a great question. Bohemius asked, when is the Luca Pasci interview? Yeah, let me pull that up because I don't think he hasn't changed anything with me about it. So I think we're still on, but let me give you the date because I think I said it, but I don't want to like misquote myself here. Luca Pasci. So yeah, October 25th. So that's not this Friday, but the coming Friday. So yeah, just like just over a week from now, week and a half. Yeah, so I'll be doing an interview. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Like, oh yeah. Yeah, so I'll be talking with Luca Pasci about the whole Lost Quest Packs project. That attempt to bring back the Dwarf and Wizard Quest packs, what it's been like, what we can expect. Ah, Joe's with you as far as a streaming game. Haven't played one in about 10 years.
maybe we'll do a planned thing. I'll probably keep it up in my Discord then. That'd be good. I'd be down for that. Just as much as I'd be wanting to do one right now, we're pushing to 12 a.m. and I gotta be up early tomorrow. I'm getting starting to get real tired. See, I'm
All
getting
right.
more tired than you are because I didn't get a dad nap today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna call it. I'm about losing it now. Usually I get a chance to cash in a nap, but my wife needed help with the baby today, so I was up all day, and I don't like doing the podcast from Thundry because like you can run on empty and you do really well to cover it up. Me, I start
Well,
drifting and I start losing track of like what I was talking about, and then I'm like, what?
this I can do. What I find is difficult is when I'm totally exhausted and I'm trying to like Zargon a quest and I'm like forgetting stuff and I'm like getting confused and lost. Like you can tell, it's like, oh man, it's like we got to
Yeah,
wrap this up. I got to go to bed.
and I
But
still gotta
this,
take
I mean, I could rant on.
I still gotta
All
take my
right,
meds and stuff, so I'm probably gonna have to prepare to go to bed. So
yeah.
unfortunately,
Well, Joe, send him your IMs and maybe you guys can work something out or check his
yeah.
schedule.
Anybody, the two games, and like I said, they're free. They're free to download right now. Are Dark and Darker and Dungeonborn, and like I said, they're a place where you'll hop in with a team. You'll meet other people, and like I said, most of the time you're competing with them, and you'll also be fighting mobs in a dungeon. So it's PvP, and literally anything you take with you into the dungeon, you have possibility of losing if you die. So
So
it's
we'd
kind
be
of one of
working
those.
together against other people.
Yep.
Sweet.
That's the game curve, is the fact that it's kind of like a roguelike. So you'll lose everything upon death.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you either risk it
I
all and grab all the loot and get out, or
yeah.
you die trying.
You live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, I just have to be humble with those new games because I don't know what I'm doing for the first hour or so. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, Call of Duty Zombies. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And that's still going.
I
That's
still
still
play that
going.
when I can on Xbox 360. World at War.
Oh
Yep.
boy. Jesus, that was
Yeah,
like
man.
what, 07?
I think 2008, but yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Frostbite engine. Yeah. I didn't play that game when it first started. I specifically was like combing through these lists of like, all the Call of Duty series, like which ones are worth your time. And it was like, I think World at War is going to be my game. And I got it and I was right.
Hey, everybody's got a game to play.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm good. I'm good with that.
All right. Well, with that, then we'll go ahead and we'll call it. Go ahead and put on
Thanks
our
everybody.
music. Yeah. Hey.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I kept getting
I
killed and
want
the
to end
host
off
got
the.
pissed and food. Yeah.
I want to tell
And
everybody good night. Thanks for watching and or listening. If you've just been tuning in with us on the RantCast, once again, my name is Joshua. I'm also known as the Strange Bus. You can catch me occasionally streaming at twitch.tv/strangebus. That's twitch.tv/strangebus. I am joined, and I'd also like to thank my other host for joining me. It's Kurgan, also known as HeroQuest Fans. You can join him at twitch.tv/HeroQuest Fans. That's twitch.tv/HeroQuest Fans. Also has a YouTube that's XSC3, home of HeroQuest Fans. I want to thank you guys once again for tuning in with us. And have a good rest of your night. Take care, everybody.
RantCast. Thinking of. Yeah.